chance may be over, but here in Edmonton, it's stage 11 of 17 on the IZOD IndyCar Series. In this race, Will Power wears the yellow jersey as points leader. But two former series champions lead a peloton of stars looking to chase Power down. This is Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where this weekend City Centre Airport has been shut down, where runways have been transformed into a race course, and where 25 stars of IndyCar have been cleared for takeoff on this 14-turn, 1.96-mile temporary street course. So please fasten your seatbelts and turn off all electronic devices. Welcome to IndyCar Central here on Versus. I'm Lindy Thaxton, back on our Versus stage here on Pit Out. I hope you've had a good summer, but we have sure missed you guys. It's been too long. The Versus team is thrilled to be back. We've got you the rest of the 2010 season. There are 7 races left. So right now here in Edmonton, race 3 of 5. It's a stretch of road courses, but then we finish out the season with 4 straight ovals. This is a city where Wayne Gretzky is known as the Great One, but I'll tell you what, Will Power could be called that as well. He's the only one this season who has won more than one race. He's won 4 of the 6 road and street races, and it actually puts him in a position today to clinch the inaugural Mario Andretti Trophy. It's awarded to the driver with the most road and street points this season. All Will has to do is finish 20 points ahead of Ryan Hunter-Reay and 23 points ahead of Dario Franchitti to put himself in a position where no one can catch him in the remaining 2 road course races. And if that's not enough, by winning the last 2 races at Watkins Glen and Toronto, Will also looks to join Scott Dixon, Dan Weldon, and Kenny Brack as the only IndyCar drivers to win 3 in a row.
We go green in the streets of Toronto.
Wilson manages to hold off. Will Power is right behind him. Then Ryan Hunter-Reay.
It looks like everybody's going to gamble. Tracy will go to the lead. Paul Tracy sees Dario Franchitti. Start to his inside, and Dario grabs the spot. It is Dario Franchitti out in front of Will Power and Justin Wilson. Dario Franchitti heads to pit lane.
Will Power in front of Justin Wilson. Now they both peel off.
Will Power and Justin Wilson drag racing out the exit, and Justin Wilson is just going to beat him.
There comes Dario Franchitti, and boy, did Justin take advantage of the situation.
Justin Wilson, as everyone now has cycled through, has gone to the front.
Now 14 laps to go as Will Power trying on the outside, and boy, does he get a great pass.
Justin Wilson has fun coming out of turn number 8 that wind checkers will wave. Will Power is the winner on the streets of Toronto.
And Will Power joins me on stage, and you're just getting all sorts of waves and everybody from all these fans. I mean, do you even realize right now you're pretty much the man?
I've just been focused on what I'm doing, you know. I just don't even know race to race. I'm really just focused on getting points, being mistake-free, and getting that Verizon car in victory lane.
Well, everyone knows you're awesome here at these road courses, but you've not finished higher than 5th on an oval. So to get that title, how important is that to you?
It's very important. You know, I feel as though that I can make up a lot of points here on the road courses, but I can't rely on that. We've certainly been knocking on the door for good results on ovals. It just hasn't gone our way. So I think that the 4 ovals we did earlier certainly going to put me in good stead for the last 4.
So grabbing these points here is critical. And last year, when you were a temporary driver for Penske, you won here. How significant is that to you?
You know, that was actually a very green race. There's no yellow periods except for 2 laps at the end. So, you know, that is ideal for me today. I don't think it's going to happen like that, considering there's been a lot of offs in practice. So we just got to take it as it comes, you know, just hopefully we pick the strategy right.
Let's throw in something fun here, because we know you really battled with Justin Wilson last weekend. I don't know if people at home know, but his fiancée, Liz, does public relations for Justin Wilson. Can that get a little hairy? Who's she root for? Come on.
She says to me, ideally, I wanted Justin to win and you to be second. As long as you were ahead of the Ganassi cars, she was fine. So yeah, she's a competitive girl and she wants to see her team win.
I got you. Well, good luck to you, Will. We'll see you out there.
Thank you.
And now Robbie Floyd is with Justin Wilson.
Yeah, Jay Will has more experience here probably than anybody does, and you have a win back in 06. So you do like this course or not?
I do. It's a tough track to get right, but it's a lot of fun. And when the car's right, it's a lot of fun around here. You can carry the speed, the momentum comes, and the lap time comes with it.
Well, you qualified 9th. How much fun have you had this weekend?
This one's been a struggle. We've had to work hard, and it's not what we're looking for. But we keep making change on the car. We can make one corner better, but it makes another corner worse. And we haven't found the right compromise yet. But I think we've made another positive step in warm-up and in practice. So hopefully, come race, we'll be fine.
Yesterday, after qualifying, you have to choose whether you use the red alternate tire or the black primary tires. Everyone in the top 20 went one way. You went the other. Why did you go with the primary?
We figured...
you can tell me.
We want to make something happen. We want to do something different, and we're not going to do that by doing the same strategy as everyone else. And on a track like this, which is so downforce dependent, you can't get within a second of the guy in front. So we want to do something different. We want to put the reds on when everyone else got the blacks on, and then see if we can take advantage. And then after that, we'll see if some people put a second set of reds on which are used, and maybe they'll go off.
Thanks a lot, Justin. Good luck out there. Lindy Thaxton will find out if that difference will be enough.
We sure will. Thank you, Robbie. And Justin's had good finishes here at Edmonton. Not only did he win a Champ Car race here back in 2006, he also has 4 top 5 results. He's actually never finished worse than 8th. Well, let's take a look at the points as they stand now. With his win last week and yesterday's pole, Will Power increased his overall points lead over Dario Franchitti to 43 points. And by finishing 3rd in Toronto, Ryan Hunter-Reay and Elio Castroneves, they flip-flop positions, with Ryan moving back into the top 5. And as we mentioned, Power has a commanding lead in the Mario Andretti Trophy standings. As the top road and street course driver, he leads Ryan Hunter-Reay by 86 points and Franchitti by 89. Justin Wilson sits in 4th with 5 top 10s in 6 road and street courses. Ganassi teammates Dario Franchitti and Scott Dixon, they start in row 2 together today. Of course, Scott Dixon, the 08 Series Championship, Dario Franchitti, 09. They are both trying to reel in Will Power right now, and they are both standing by with Jack Arute.
And Lindy, there's already been a little bit of a celebration, because at the Brickyard 400, Jamie McMurray for Target Chip Ganassi in Bass Pro Shops brings the car home victorious. And Dario, this is getting to be a sweep at Indianapolis for Target Chip Ganassi.
Yeah, it was great to see both Juan and Jamie doing a great job today. Obviously feel bad for Juan that had the problem there, but Jamie brought it home. Chip's won the Daytona 500, Indianapolis 500, now the Brickyard 400 this year, so he's on a roll, and it's now up to Dixie and I today to do the job for Team Target.
Yeah, you guys didn't get a call or anything from Chip telling you, you got to press a little harder, have you?
I'm sure his phone's blocked out right at the minute, and he's probably not caring about too much what his phone's doing, but it was a huge race. Definitely feel bad for Juan. Obviously in the Target car, looked like he was dominating the race, but more importantly, hopefully we can pull that through today. 9 and 10, 1-2 would be huge for us.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about what lies ahead specifically for you, because while he is chasing down Will Power, you're trying to, hold station, as one broadcaster likes to say. Are you feeling pressure that you have to push the button harder, or how do you change your luck at all, Scott?
I don't know. It's just been one of those seasons where nothing's really clicked, and we've had a lot of DNFs on the road courses, but the great thing is that the cars had speed. It's obviously probably not as good as the Penske cars, but we're definitely closing in on it. But, we got to have a clean race. We got to get to the end. We got to get maximum points, and more importantly, we got to try and get ahead of the 12 car and try and close that gap in the championship as well.
Now, Dario, when you won the Indianapolis 500, Jamie McMurray got in his own airplane the next day and flew up to congratulate you. I hate to break the news to you, but now you're going to have to reciprocate and fly back to Indy.
That's okay, because we borrowed Chip's plane to come up here, so we got to stop off in Indianapolis tonight. So last time we saw Jamie's plane was in Indianapolis in one of the hangars getting worked on, so hopefully we can catch up with him tonight and shake his hand and just tell him well done, because that was a hell of a job.
Now, Lindy, if one of these guys win today, it'll be a heck of a sweep for Target Chip Ganassi's operation.
It sure will. Thank you so much, Jack. And since the reunification, Dario trails only Will Power in road and street course wins. Power has 5 wins in the last 2 seasons, while Franchitti has 3. Well, when we come back to Edmonton, we will take a look at some of the emotions that boiled over last week in Toronto and the battle of words that followed. This is IndyCar Central on Versus. Welcome back to Edmonton, where the race here will start shortly. The drivers are about to be introduced. They'll also take some parade laps out here. It's pretty good weather out here. Going to be a good one. We've got a great crowd out here, too. And many of the drivers here in Edmonton, they are just happy to leave Toronto in one piece. Get this, more than half of the field was involved in contact or a spin of some kind. And after the checkered flag, tempers really boiled over. We thought we might be settling things this way, which this works. We're in Canada, right? They love their hockey up here. But a lot of the drivers, they let their fingers do the talking on Twitter. Not sure if you're on Twitter. The IndyCar Nation is huge there, and you would have gotten a pretty good show after the Toronto race. Well, take a look at this, and then we're going to let them tell you what they have to say about it, but we're going to give them more than 140 characters.
And the Cuba Sato, both fighting for the same piece of real estate. The Sato's day is done. Elio Castroneves has lost control and buries it deep into the tires. Mario Robinson made contact and got spun around.
IndyCar officials have levied a penalty against Mario Moraes.
The 0-2 of Bram Rahal drove up underneath the 6th machine of Ryan Briscoe, spun him around and knocked part of the wing assembly off the car.
Oh, no, we got another crash. Oh, it is Matos, and now the 20th incident involving a KV racing machine.
EJ Viso and Matos is in the tire barrier.
Thomas Scheckter and Alex Tagliani contact. Deja vu all over again. Those two had contact and issues a year ago.
There's no way that I would do anything intentionally, if that's what you're trying to say.
But it was like straightforward, you know, like, hey, it's the payback, you know, you, just, you know, like, see you later, you know, it's just weird.
You can go cry. Come speak to me if you want to speak to me. Otherwise, you know, he's just crying. It's over with, it's done, you know, move on to Edmonton.
We have our own little rumble in Edmonton here. Yourself, Thomas Scheckter, a lot has happened since last week in Toronto. What has happened?
Pretty much nothing since Toronto. I was quite upset for over-optimistic move and our race in the wall. And I find out what I needed to find out after the race from him, what he was all about, and that was it. Once that was over, I just came here and focused on another race.
But you talked to me and said that he was holding a grudge from last year. He said, well, it's payback.
Yeah, and that's the weirdest thing. And when I find that out, there was nothing else I needed to find out from him. You know, when you hold a grudge from a year, and that's the reason why you give the payback to another driver on track, is pretty low.
Try and focus on this year. I'm noticing some different colors. You have a Hot Wheel on your hand. You're the new representative for Hot Wheels Canada.
Yeah, I used to throw the Hot Wheels cars down the garage at my mom's house, and I had the bright idea of throwing a bunch of flour on the floor and make a little track, and that was the end of my Hot Wheels life. But now I drive the real size one.
Yeah, the real life starts out now. But just like two kids playing with their Hot Wheels when they're kids, you know you're going to have a tussle. That looks like the same thing we have between Alex and Thomas Scheckter.
Well, let's check in with the other side to the story. Alex Tagliani, we've heard from. Now we hear from Thomas Scheckter. What's up with all these tweets and these back and forth between you and Tags?
Like I said, he probably needs a pacifier to stop him crying so much. But, you know, I've explained a million times what happened. You know, my focus now is doing a good job. Monavi's happy to come on board again here for Edmonton and just working very hard. It's a tough race. We qualified in the top 12. We've done a great job. It's going to be a very tough race ahead of us. So, you know, that's what I'm going to focus on.
When you have that kind of focus, though, does there ever enter into your mind during the course of the race what's been transpiring? And it seems like, from his standpoint, for the last year or so, and how do you get that out of your mind?
Well, I hope he's losing sleep over it, because I'm not. You know, I don't worry about it all. I'm racing, and that's what I do. Whether he wants to do anything or not, that's fine. But I don't care. I've got enough problems without Tagliani, so I'll just concentrate on what I have to do.
Good luck, Thomas.
Thank you.
Well, Thank you, Jack. We definitely want to keep an eye on those two guys as we race today. By the way, coming up later in the show, we've got a special feature story on Alex Tagliani, and he's one of two Canadian drivers racing today. Of course, the other is Paul Tracy. And by the way, Alex and Thomas were not the only drivers to have a Twitter debate after that Toronto race. Ryan Briscoe and Graham Rahal had their own back and forth on their late turn 3 contact. Take a look at what they had to say. You're going to want to look at your screen right now. You can see Briscoe and Rahal going back and forth. You know, Briscoe saying, you know, make a clean move instead of punting me. Rahal saying, I made tons of clean moves today. Ryan wrote, Graham simply screwed up today and can't man up, to which Rahal responded, if I were rough driving and Briscoe wasn't blocking, Chief Steward Brian Barnhart would have given me a penalty. End of discussion. Well, Graham Rahal is not racing this week in Edmonton. However, we are going to see him in Mid-Ohio, but Robbie is standing by with Ryan Briscoe.
Some tweet sparring between @RyanBriscoe6 and @Graham Rahal on the Twitter. What's going on between you guys?
I think it's water under the bridge now. We probably got a bit overboard with Twitter after the race in Toronto. A few tempers were flaring, and we sort of let it go a little bit. But I have a lot of respect for Graham. He's a great driver, and I'm sure nothing he did in Toronto was intentional. So I was hoping he'd be here just so we could sort of settle things once and for all. But I'm really happy about being here in Edmonton. The car's great. I'm really looking forward to the race. Qualifying wasn't as good as I was hoping. I was hoping to be a bit better than 5th, but I think I've got a really good race car, so hopefully we can move up from there.
Word was yesterday you might have went the wrong direction trying to get that pole like you've done before here at Edmonton.
Yeah, we've been good all weekend, and the car's been really solid, and we're just looking for a little bit extra front grip, and we made some pretty big changes, just sort of listening to what had been run on the other two cars in the team as well, and I tried it, and I just got really loose into the corners. I couldn't attack, and we sort of took a step backwards. So at least we learned from it. It was good to make it into the Fast 6, as challenging as it was, but I think we learned from it, and it should be a good car today.
All three Penske cars in the top 5. Watch out for Ryan Briscoe.
And outside of Will Power, it was Woe Canada for Team Penske in Toronto. Ryan's 18th place finish and Elio's 24th place represented the worst showing for those two cars at a single race since Ryan joined the team. Last week, Danica Patrick finished 6th in Toronto, her best road or street course result of the season. Today, Danica will start 21st, but keep in mind, she also started 21st in St. Pete and ended up in 7th. Speaking of 7th, that's where rookie Simona Di Silvestro will start today. Her career best IZOD IndyCar starting position. We'll talk to her when we return here in Edmonton.
I was on the wheel when I was 2.5 years old. I just loved the feeling of moving fast. About high school time, I got a road bike and really got into the competition world. And so as university, I was seriously competing, and I really loved it. Mentally competing on a bicycle, but of course in my heart, something missing is always mud racing. And a big fan of the bike racing, and the Tour de France is the pinnacle of road racing. One opportunity I had was called Étape de Tour. That was a week before Tour de France. It was exactly the same course, so 8,000 people entered. In the front line, Alain Prost and Miguel Indurain, and I really enjoyed it. One day, if I had any chance to ride on some professional, that'd be a dream.
After a strong oval race in Iowa where Takuma Sato ran as high as 3rd, he had his best IZOD IndyCar finish on the road course at Watkins Glen. Today, he will try to improve on his 25th place result in Toronto. And with Takuma's start in cycling, I'd imagine he caught a few stages of the Tour de France. It actually finished today. After our race today, you can catch the final stage right here on Versus. And on another Versus note, for more IndyCar info, including Will Power's blog and This Week in Indy with Lindy, you just need to check out Versus.com. Well, we have some driver news to report. The Indy Racing League has placed Milka Duno on probation for the remainder of this season, and that is for, quote, not consistently meeting minimal performance standards. Track officials withdrew Milka from last week's race in Toronto for driving too slowly. On a road course and a street course, the standard is based on time, and that is expected to be 107% of of the lead car. So, of course, we'll keep you posted on what's going on there. Duno will start last today. She's starting 25th, while Danica Patrick starts 21st. The top qualifier of the three women is Swiss rookie Simona Di Silvestro. Coming off her career best finish of 9th last week in Toronto, Simona starts today from a career-high 7th spot, and she's standing by with Jack.
Along with Simona, we have Keith Wiggins, who is the owner of HVM Racing. And Keith, very quickly, I want to find out from you what you think is the key to Simona's performance here thus far.
Well, I think, first of all, her talent. We've got some good support with the trainer, and as always, the team effort. You know, everybody went. She was good on feedback, and we managed to get the car right. So
now, you've won here before, but it was in an Atlantic car. Can you transfer anything from up here to this racetrack?
You know, it's very different with the Indy car. It's much faster and everything. So, and the race is going to be much longer, much tougher. But you know, it was nice to kind of know the track here before, and I'm really happy to be starting 7th here. You know, I think it's going to give us a little bit of an advantage starting more up front.
Good luck to the both of you. Let's check in with Robbie Floyd. Robbie?
I'm with the man Elio Castroneves in number 3, sitting outside of pole. He can't quite get that pole in the past 3 years there, huh, Elio?
That's right. We keep knocking on the door. It's okay if I don't get the pole, but it's big okay if I have the win. Certainly, it's been an incredible straight for Team Penske in qualifying. They've been doing very well, and again, my man Power Williams. So he's doing really good. So again, we're gonna have a good battle today.
2 second places in your 2 years here. What's been the difference that kept you from taking that top spot?
Well, you know, it's putting everything together, and this is a place that half of the track you can be very good, but all of a sudden on the high-speed corners you might just make a little mistake and end up losing all the advantage you have. So it's a tough place. It's a very physical. Today is going to be a tough race.
That got me thinking of Will too. We know how much he trains and stuff. Do you train anything different for this track? As you told me, this is the most difficult, physically demanding track of the year.
Well, basically you try to keep the same type of physical. You don't push maybe a little bit the neck because this is we're talking about 5 corners that you're actually carrying 3rd and 4th gear, and man, it's kind of tough. Hopefully today won't have any problem, and we're going to have a lot of fun.
Thanks a lot, Elio. Starting outside pole today, Lindy looking for his first win here at Edmonton.
Did you all catch Elio call Will William trying to break up that willpower? We know what he's up to. Thank you, Robbie. Well, earlier today, race number 8 of 13 on the 2010 Firestone Indy Lights circuit took place right here in Edmonton. James Hinchcliffe qualified yesterday, and he got the pole position, so he started first here. Starting second, J.K. Bernay in the number 7 gave him a run for his money off on the start, but guess what? James Hinchcliffe, he leads all 50 laps in this race. He ends up taking the checkered, and I'll tell you what, these Canadian fans, they went wild because James Hinchcliffe is Canadian, so they love to see him win that race. In this Mazda Road to Indy update, let's go ahead and take a look at the overall point standings from the 3 Indy Ladder Series, starting there with Indy Lights. J.K. Bernay, he still leads the point standings. He's over Hinch by 55 points at this point. In the Star Mazda Series, Connor Daly has won 4 of 7 races to lead the overall points, with Anders Krohn in 2nd place there. And while at the halfway mark in the USF 2000 Series, Sage Karam, a 15-year-old driver for Andretti Autosport, leads the point standings with Patrick McKenna in 2nd place. Both the USF 2000 and Star Mazda divisions race at the Autobahn Country Club in Joliet next weekend. This is the 3rd time the IZOD IndyCar Series has raced here on this temporary airport set up here in downtown Edmonton, and the 6th open wheel event contested here. Jack Arute has more on how to race here from our IZOD Pit Performance Center.
This will be the first time that the overtake button will be in effect here at the Edmonton City Center Airport. It's kind of interesting when you take a look at how many pushes you have, but it's also the reset that will determine whether you use it offensively or defensively. Now, it's pretty obvious. Offensively, you wanted to press the button about here because this is basically the longest straightaway. You'll be able to use that extra 10 horsepower. But defensively, here's where it gets quite interesting. Coming off of turn 5 and 6, if you push the button for the duration, you might be able to use it defensively to keep someone at bay. But here's the conundrum you'll find yourself in. Use it defensively there. You won't be able, because of the 10-second reset, use it offensively at the longest part of the racetrack. So which is it going to be? A good offense or a good defense? I think that'll be up to each individual driver during the course of the race. Lindy?
Thanks, Jack. We're a little more than 15 minutes to the command of today's race, and when we return, I'll send it over to our booth trio of Bob Jenkins, Professor Jan Bikas, and Robbie Buell for their take on the recent chassis announcement. This is IndyCar Central on Versus.
Welcome back to Edmonton, just ahead of the start of today's race. I'm Bob Jenkins along with Robbie Buell and Jan Bikas, and recently the IZOD IndyCar Series gave us a look into the future at what the car will be like 2012 and beyond. A lot of unanswered questions. One thing we do know, though, is that Dallara will build the safety cell. It will cost $349,000, about 45% less than the current model. Jan, run down some of the other things that we know.
Well, Bob, why don't we first take a look at what do you get for your $349,000. You get a rolling chassis. It gets that name because you could roll it off the factory floor. Once you put an engine, and in this case, front and rear wings and a side pod, then you have a car that you can race. On the second angle of this rolling chassis, you can see the under tray. Even though it doesn't have side pods, it's much wider. That was for safety, to try and keep the wheels from interlocking. Now, the actual tub itself is going to have greater visibility. We know that Dallara already builds a very safe chassis, but they want to improve the driver padding and the technology to make it one step safer yet. Now, don't forget that the original Dallara chassis was built for oval racing only. But then the IndyCar Series went to street and road courses. They had to build all new suspensions because you need heavier suspensions to go over the curbs and the bumps, certainly to a place like Edmonton or a street circuit with the curbs. So all the teams have to have two sets of suspension. This car will be designed as a road course car that you could race on ovals. Only one set of bits saves a lot of money. If you look at the front suspension, you can also see they have gone to a more traditional push rod suspension instead of pull rod. The angle of those suspension pieces are up instead of down. The mechanics aren't going to have to climb underneath to change the springs. The springs and shocks are up on top. You'll also have a third spring, meaning you can have ride control, which was a big hoopla this year. And overall, remember, this car has been slated to be 185 pounds less. So what's the big deal about 185 pounds? For every 15 pounds, the car is a tenth of a second faster. If you extrapolate that out to a street circuit, that's 1.2 seconds faster just because of the weight. And don't forget about the new engine rules. The new engine rules were introduced to where the cars will have between 550 and 700 horsepower. The idea is 700 horsepower on the street circuits at a place that gets them back into the power and rate ratio of the old days. Think of Long Beach, where you had high horsepower race cars that would get off of Queens Hairpin, go down Shoreline Drive at 190 miles an hour because they had such high horsepower. Now you've got that power to rate ratio about the same. At Indianapolis, I think the current power is right about what everybody wants at 625. But then when you go to Texas, they actually would like to have less horsepower so you don't have to slow the car down with aerodynamics. And finally, Edmonton is a fantastic example. At 2,200 feet, you lose 50 horsepower just because of the altitude. Well, with a turbocharged engine, you don't lose that horsepower. And so instead of 575 like you'd have at Edmonton now all of a sudden, you've got 700 horsepower. You're 185 pounds lighter. Then don't forget about the new push-to-pass. It would be a true push-to-pass at 100 horsepower. Now you got something racy.
Now, Robbie, as a car owner, I'm interested in what you think about all this, especially the cost factor.
Well, it's all good. No question about it. We know a decision's been made. Not everybody's going to like it. Some people are going to love it more than others. But the cost is going in the right direction. And the big reason is, just like Jan said, is with oval and road course packages, it's the same suspension. So you don't have to buy that times two. So all of that is in the right direction. The one thing that we still have to get more information on, the initial cost of any new car, that's a big hit to teams. But it's the running cost. So with gears and drive gears, what's going to be the cost going forward with this car? And that's still information that we got to get from the series.
One other thing that we know, the aero packages must cost no more than $70,000. And Jack Arute, I'd like for you to weigh in on this aero package system.
Well, that's the part, Bob, that's got me excited because it's almost a look towards the past. Remember when you'd go to an IndyCar race and you'd see a Roadster and then you saw the rear-engine cars and you knew what a Lotus was, then you knew what a March was, or remember Dan Gurney's Eagles? Well, now with this new package, the aero package, or as we like to call it, the outer clothing, every car has an opportunity to have a unique look. Now, with an eye towards the economy, though, here's what I find will be really fascinating as well. Let's say you're Lotus. Instead of having to expend tens of millions of dollars to develop an Indy car, now you can develop the outside clothing and call it the Lotus Special. You could do it with Grumman Aircraft. In fact, there's been some talk that already Honda's looking at it, already Lotus is looking at it. It's a very cost-efficient or price point way of taking Indy cars and for the fans, giving them all a unique look. I know there's a lot of other specifics that we're going to have to follow for the next 12 months or so in terms of how they're going to do it, how it's going to be improved. But I know I, for one, am really looking forward to January 1st, 2012 to see what the assortment of aero packages that might be available to teams will be.
And I think one other thing we need to talk about is parity, and will these aerodynamic packages be in par with each other?
Yeah, and it is one of the things that's really exciting is the innovation of bringing these aero packages in. I think all the fans love that. My mind as a team owner, I jump way ahead and I say, okay, how are we going to make sure there's parity for all the teams so you don't know who's going to win that race when you show up at the racetrack? How are they going to maintain that? How do we police that? And those are things that are all going to unfold, but it's the innovation side of it's great.
Well, that's the story of the 2012 Car of the Future. Let's hope everything works out the way they want it to. Lindy?
Thanks, guys. Clearly, the next year and a half leading up to 2012 will be very interesting to watch. Well, earlier in the show, we talked to Alex Tagliani. When we come back, Alex takes us on a tour of his fast race team headquarters. Stay with us.
My mom and dad sent me to Italy to learn the language. I was 10 years old. I got to Malpensa, and my granddad just picked me by the neck, and we stopped at Calicart. Today it's known as CRG, and he bought me my first little 60cc Comer. He brought me to a couple of race tracks. I was doing really good lap times and I was competitive. And he called my dad and he says, hey, your kid's pretty good. And a couple months later, I went back home. From that point on, it was my mom making lunches over the weekend and my dad bringing me to race tracks.
As you can see on Now on Pit Road, we're just about to get this thing started. Although Alex Tagliani, let's talk more about him. He hails from Montreal here in Canada, but he lived for a few years in Las Vegas. Well, he recently moved to Indianapolis with his wife, Bronte. They actually met. He was racing in Australia, and she was competing in the Miss Gold Coast pageant. Well, Alex gave up the life in Las Vegas. He moved to Indy. He wanted to be closer to his team, the fast race team. Well, recently, he gave us a tour of the inside on becoming fast.
This is Alex Tagliani from the fast race team driving the Bowers & Wilkins 77 car. We're here in front of the fast race team facility. We'll welcome you inside and show you around and show you where I spend most of my life eating, training, and getting prepared for races. So come in. The man behind the whole team, Mr. Rob Edwards himself. How are you, boss?
I'm good, thanks.
Walk into the race shop, and here we can see the simulator set up. It's ready to go. Do a couple of laps of the next racetrack where we're going to race. Helps us putting us drivers in the mood and remembering where we're going to turn left and right. And so the trophy case is a nice little display to have at the entrance of a race shop, but it's also just to get rid of my stuff because I've moved from Vegas to Indy. And it's also remind you of good memories, like the trophy that's in the middle. It's the one that I got from Surfers Paradise,
And, like you're reminding me meeting Bronzy there. So that's the year that I was on the podium there and the year that I met her. Walk here, messy office. I just drop my crap in here and get change. And the first thing I do, I walk back into the gym. That's where the day starts. So we're lucky that we were able to put this gym together. I think the guys are training. Bronzy is our personal trainer, so she trains them. And since she started training them, I think I lost some popularity with them because she really rides them hard. The pain's gonna start. So that for me is one set. Down there, an infrared sauna obviously helps like muscle recovery. I use it mainly just to get used to the heat. The body metabolism gets used to that, gets prepared to it, so you're in much better shape when you go to the racetrack. After my gym session, I get change. Well, thank you for stopping by. I guess after a little bit of physical training, now it's time to go back to business. See you on the racetracks.
I hope you all enjoyed that. It's pretty cool to see what goes on away from an actual racetrack. Thank you, Alex Tagliani and the crew, for letting us go there. And Alex has 4 top 10 finishes this season, including a 6th place result at St. Pete. Today, Alex starts 19th. And as we've said, Alex is one of 2 Canadian drivers in the field today. Of course, you've probably heard of the other one, Paul Tracy. He's in the number 15 car. He's driving for KB Racing Technology this race. And Tracy, he's fared pretty well racing in his home country. He's got 2 wins in Toronto, 3 in Vancouver, 3 top 5s in Montreal, and 4 top 5s here in Edmonton. He led 14 laps last week in Toronto before finishing 13th. And that will wrap it up for IndyCar Central here on Versus. Coming up next, the start of today's Honda Indy Edmonton. Thanks so much for joining us on IndyCar Central on Versus.
2010. Will this be the year of the championship for Team Penske and Will Power?
Will Power will win the 2010 IZOD IndyCar Series opener.
Lately, it's been downright domination for this Australian road course warrior.
How good has this guy been this year?
For the second time this season, he'll attempt to become just the 4th driver in series history to win 3 races in a row.
The Twin Checkers will wave. Will Power is the winner on the streets of Toronto.
He has dominated the road and street courses of the IZOD IndyCar Series this year.
This week, it's the airport circuit of Edmonton, where last year Power took his first IndyCar Series victory. It's the summer stretch. The next 3 races take place on road courses. Then it's 4 ovals to the finish as the championship push continues. Power looks to add to his points lead the next 3 races before Dario and Dixon try to reel him in on the oval. For the second consecutive weekend, we're racing north of the border. Welcome to Versus coverage of IZOD IndyCar Series racing from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Race number 11, 6 to go after today, 2 more on road courses, and then 4 ovals to wrap up the season. This event today held on the runways and taxiways and connecting roads at Edmonton City Center Airport. The course is 1.9 miles in length. A beautiful day in Edmonton. Good crowd on hand. The fans are ready for the start, and the command is coming up in just a few moments. There is Will Power, the pole sitter for today's race, and the points leader in the IZOD IndyCar Championship. Team Penske has had a good season this year. led by Will Power. Briscoe has one win. Of course, Elio Castroneves also has a win, with Briscoe 4th in the point standings and Castroneves 6th in the points. Drivers are ready. The command is going to be given today by a member of the Canadian Olympic gold medal curling team. And I think all is ready. Let's go downstairs for that command that will get our race here in Edmonton underway today.
Drivers, start your engines!
Has been given. The command has been given.
Kevin Miller, a member of the Canadian Olympic gold medal curling team. There's the Target Chip Ganassi drivers starting side by side in row number 2 today. There are 25 cars on the grid preparing for 95 laps, 186.2 miles. Once again, for the 6th time this year, Will Power won the Peak Pole Award. He covered the course in just more than 1 minute, 116.991 miles an hour. The Peak Pole Award worth $10,000. Justin Wilson's pole last week at Toronto prevented Team Penske from setting an open wheel record for consecutive poles. Team Penske now tied with Dan Gurney's All-American racers with 8 straight poles. Making sure all cars are running. They will roll off for a couple of warm-up laps before getting the green flag. Danica Patrick gets set to go. Front of the field begins to pull away. And here's the way they'll line up. Will's teammate, Elio Castroneves, going to be on the outside of row number 1. Target Chip Ganassi teammates Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti in row number 2. Row number 3, Ryan Briscoe and E.J. Viso. By far, E.J.'s best start of the year. His previous best start was 9th at St. Pete. His best finish so far came 3 races ago on the Oval in Iowa. Rookie Simona Di Silvestro has her best career start. Alongside her will be Ryan Hunter-Reay. Starting 9th, Justin Wilson, last week's pole sitter, and 10th will be Rafa Matos.
And Rafa Matos, this is his best starting spot all year. He's won on this track before in Atlantic. He's a talented driver. Can today be his day?
Row 6, Hideki Muto and Thomas Schechter. In the 7th row, Takuma Sato and Mario Moraes. Home country favorite Paul Tracy and Marco Andretti are in row number 8.
And you saw that Paul Tracy was right behind 2 teammates. Remember, Paul is always a fast starter, but last year he punted his own teammate, Mario Moraes, in the very first lap. He hopes to avoid that one this year.
Back to row number 9, Mario Romancini and Alex Lloyd, a couple of rookies in this series this year. The 10th row consists of Alex Tagliani. We met him and his race shop just a few moments ago. And Bertrand Baguette. Danica Patrick starts inside row number 11 and Dan Wells into the outside. The 12th row in today's race, Vitor Meira and Tony Kanaan, who crashed during qualifying and has to start at the rear of the field. Milka Duno also did not qualify, so she will be starting in 25th position. 4 different teams have won the 5 previous races here in Edmonton. It's an airport, Jan, and a interesting race course.
It's a fantastic layout, and when you look at it from a satellite, you can certainly see it's a nice combination of runway and taxiway. And one of the interesting things is how the beginning portion of the lap is fairly smooth with a nice passing zone, a nice wide passing zone in red highlighted in turn number 1. But 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up until you get to the exit of turn 8, it's fairly smooth. Then high-speed bumpy circuits with a great passing zone into turn 10, then bumpy high speed again with a passing zone into 11, and then fly through the fastest chicane, making the fastest temporary circuit that they race on.
Okay, let's take a view from the cockpit of the car. Here we are with Ryan Hunter-Reay. look at all that pavement there. We talked about the airports and the runways. It's so wide here. And what's difficult for the drivers is to pick up reference points out on the circuit when it's this wide. They don't know necessarily where they want to be. Also, what it does is it makes it very optimistic for the drivers with those walls being so far back and all that pavement is maybe I'm going to challenge that corner a little bit more. It is a bumpy circuit, not just for the runways, but also hitting those curves. Look at Paul Tracy just hammer that curve in turn 2. Watch it in slow motion. Will Power. He's going to hit that curve, which you want to do that. That's the shortest way through the corner. But then the thing is to get that car to settle and stop bouncing so it hooks up. Look at it in freeze frame. There we go. Paul Tracy, all wheels off the ground. So a busy, tough, physical racetrack. Jack?
Guys, unlike most of the racetracks that are road courses or temporary street courses, you don't see a lot of yellows here at Edmonton. In fact, if you take a look at the past couple of races, they only had a total of 11 laps and 2.5 yellow periods. Now, here are the keys to remember. You got to get 2.9 miles to the gallon. 30 laps is your pit window. So because of you're so close, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be in a situation where somewhere along the line, you're going to have to short pit, and that's going to be the strategy. You want to be the first. Guys?
All right, all but 4 drivers going to start this race on the alternate reds, and the green Apex Brazil green flag is out, and we are racing in Edmonton.
So is everybody all clean as they sort themselves through all that pavement? It's looking pretty good.
Got a lot of racetrack to work with.
TK on the high side there, starting in the way back in the green and white 7-Eleven car.
You can bet he's going to make his way to the front of the field as quickly as he can. Looks behind Danica Patrick for an opportunity there. Milcaduno has spun already. And as Lindy Thaxton told you on our pre-race show, she is on probation from the IZOD IndyCar Series officials.
And if she's still got a fire in that engine, she should be able to loop that thing around and get going and not have any yellows here. So let's hope that's the case.
Will Power and Helio Castroneves running first and second. Dixon and Franchitti are third and fourth as the Homatro safety team goes to the car of Milcaduno. Meanwhile, back on the racetrack as they come out of turn number 12, it is Will Power still leading. Here's that really rough section, 13 and 14, onto the straightaway.
Looking off of Justin Wilson's car, right back there.
Justin's running ninth.
Looking back at Rafa, who I said at the top of the show, this has been his best qualifying effort, and Rafa has won on this circuit before back in his Atlantic days, so he knows how to win here.
Paul Tracy, by the way, has moved up to 11th position in the first lap, and Tony Kanaan up to 21st. We're on board with him, and another car is off course.
That is Rafa, you know. Oh, man. Now I feel bad that I just said what I said.
Well,
oh, he's bent something, guys, or he's got a flat in that left rear.
Anytime you see the right front come up, that means there's a problem with the left rear.
Oh, a little push from PT.
And that is what PT has called the chrome horn.
Well, you know, you had just said how much Tracy had moved up. There's the hit, a little tap to the left rear. Sure enough, that's why it's flat. But you had just said how many spots Paul had moved up early, and he had moved up last spots. He's almost guaranteed to challenge guys to move himself forward on cold tires. But you never want to do it that way. I mean, that's a tough day for Rafa. He's got to get back to pits and get some fresh rubber.
Will has opened up about a 0.7 of a second lead already on his teammate Helio Castroneves, and more on both Power and Helio from our IZOD Performance Pit Center. Jack?
Helio Castroneves makes no bones about it. He kids about changing his name, Will Power, to William Power. But what he told me before the races, he has made a study of the way Will Power races around the racetrack. He said, the one problem that I have, I'll try the lines, but Robbie, one of the things he says as we look at Rafa Matos taking out those tires, he said, Will Power is a left foot breaker. I've tried it, I can't, and that he feels is the difference between he and his teammate, Will Power.
Well, you definitely have to think that Helio, when we see what Will Power has done and been so absolutely fast on these road courses and qualifying, and when you're his teammate, you have access to his information, you've got to go back and study it and say, hey, where has this guy beat me by a couple tenths here and there? And, you know, Helio is as good as it gets in terms of racecraft, sheer speed and laying down a lap. So he wants to pick that part and say, hey, where is William? Not Will Power, William, faster than me.
And when you talk about switching from left foot braking to right foot braking, Dario Franchitti is a great example. He's still right foot brakes. He's following Scott Dixon, his teammate, which is still a left foot braker. Very few people make that transition once you're far in your career. The exception to that is Paul Tracy. Paul Tracy got beat handily by A.J. Allmendinger, and he had to figure out how to switch styles.
Tony Kanaan started 24th. He is up to 19th already. Kanaan up to 19th here in the early going.
So he's looking at Bertrand Baguette right in front of him. And a really crucial area where there is a good passing zone is you're going to come through this fast section. This is a 140-mile-an-hour chicane right here. And if you can get through here really fast, this sets your speed as you go into turn one, where it's a really wide, good passing section. Right now, Tony's not close enough to poke his nose in there on Bertrand.
Baguette is just ahead of him, and Alex Lloyd is up there, so is Mario Romancini, and Lindy has more on Tony Kanaan.
Yeah, guys, this is a big number race for him. This is his 125th consecutive start. He actually leads all the active series drivers. He's only 13 short of the record held by Scott Sharp, and he's the only driver in the series right now. He's completed every lap this season. That's 1,359. He's actually the only driver in major motorsports history to complete every lap in an entire season. Get this, back in 2003, Bob, he completed 3,305.
Yeah, he is the only driver who has completed every lap this year, too, Lindy. On board with Ryan Hunter-Reay running in 8th position through this turn 13 and 14 segment onto the front stretch. Will Powers now led in 10 of 11 races this season. The only race he has not led was the first oval race of the season in Kansas.
Excitement, that's peak performance. And it's electric.
Look out. Be sure everybody's safe with the new Peak backup camera system. With the Peak Jump Starter, you don't need another car to jump your dead battery, so there's no waiting. And the fun never stops with the Peak Power Inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great as a mobile office or for tailgating.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
It started with 2 simple words, and now it's time to join in. Announcing the Claim Your Mazda Summer Sales Event. Enjoy the high resale value of Mazda 3, Mazda 6, the driver's alternative to Camry and Accord, or the 7-passenger Mazda CX-9. All available with 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus no monthly payments until October 2010. So why compromise? Hurry in and claim your Mazda today.
Select iGuard IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Marco Andretti. Select race transport. Mission, finish first. The fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
So summer's in full swing, and that means only one thing. Pack up. We're heading to Camp Versus. This is the summer camp you've always dreamed of. It's the one place all your favorite sports call home. So get ready to live dangerously. Practice conflict resolution. Get in touch with nature. Meet some new friends. And reconnect with old ones. Everybody's trying to wreck my flow. So grab a bunk and settle into camp. All summer long, only on Versus.
Will Power continues to lead here at Edmonton. Basically a 5-car breakaway here. It's Power, Castroneves, Dixon, Franchitti, and Briscoe. Then about 5 seconds back is Simona Di Silvestro running in 6th, and E.J. Viso is in 7th position. Ryan Briscoe finds himself in 5th right now. And Ryan, what do you think about your fellow Aussie, Will Power?
It's a lot of fun having a fellow Aussie on the team, and he's from more of the countryside, you know, his accent's a little more rural, and we have a bit of fun with that, but he's a hell of a driver and a huge talent. We got a taste of that last year, and he won the round in Edmonton, and, you know, I think with myself, Will, and Elio, each other a lot this year and help each other and push each other a lot as we move forward.
So I guess you speak a little different Australian if you live in Toowoomba as opposed to Sydney.
Yes, indeed. And the key word there, he said, hey, we're all going to push each other. And Elio made it very clear after this weekend that he's thankful to have Will be on that team because he's pushing the both of those guys and he's making them a better driver. I guess you better say that. I mean, that's what you got to.
And Robbie, you talk about how much work this racetrack is. Look at the bottom line there. Only 7 seconds of a lap do you ever get under 1G of cornering here with a max of 3.8. You're working hard here all the time.
And one of the keys to this race is going to be manage yourself as a driver. You're from the physical side of this race. You want to set yourself up that you got plenty to give the last 20 laps, along with your car, your gearbox, your tires.
Lindy.
Well, Roger Penske is usually in Ryan Briscoe's ear. He's not here this weekend. He's at Indy for the Brickyard. So Eric Cowden, who's the engineer for Briscoe, he has stepped in for Roger. I'm told the team is all ready to constantly update him as this is going on. And guys, I have a feeling this is kind of like the Chip Ganassi thing. He's not here either. Barry Wanzer stepped in on Dario's pit box. And Barry told me beforehand, even when Chip's not here, it's like he is here.
And I can guarantee you that Chip Ganassi is in major celebration mode right now because his team and driver Jamie McMurray won the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway today. All right, there is the 5th place car of Ryan Briscoe. And as I indicated, there's quite a bit of separation until you get back to the 6th place car, and that is Simona Di Silvestro. Boy, but she's first in class at this point. And Robbie Floyd is there.
Michael, what are you saying to Simona? She already made a pass on EJ Viso earlier. Get in that rhythm, find your mode.
Oh, absolutely. This track's about settling in, getting yourself to the last stop, and then you race the position there. I think you'll find everybody here is pretty much heading for a specific lap that they want to stop on.
Think of her any different because she's a female out there? I mean, you were so happy with her yesterday. I mean, you can't look at her any different, can you?
She's a remarkable talent. I mean, she's a rookie. She's got very little time in these cars. This is probably the most difficult racetrack that we run at as far as road circuits. And to come here and qualify first in your group yesterday and then wind up 7th overall, it's truly remarkable.
Di Silvestro trying to find that rhythm, also being concerned about fuel.
She's coming off her best finish of the season. She was 9th last weekend at Toronto, and Thomas Scheckter apparently has torn off the front nose of the car and gets a replacement.
Very quick wing change for Thomas Scheckter, but that's just when you heard Michael Cannon talk about settling in. You don't want to be settling in and knocking off the front nose.
Well, not when you're only 10 laps into this thing because you're not close to any window, so he's still going to have to come in for 2 more stops, and he's under green right now.
While we look at the guys up front, we'll tell you that Tony Kanaan has moved up 6th position, is 18th. Marco Andretti has moved up 5. Tracy up 5. Again up 3, and Alex Lloyd is up 2 at this moment. On board with Tony Kanaan, who is running in 18th position, just back of Bertrand Baguette.
IndyCar racing from Edmonton on Versus is brought to you by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win. And by Mazda, Zoom Zoom forever. And by Izod, the official apparel sponsor of the Izod IndyCar Series, available at Macy's.
Runs on sugar.
Sweet sugarcane ethanol.
It's an advanced biofuel recognized by the EPA
because it cuts greenhouse emissions by 60% compared to gasoline.
And can save you money at the pump. Fast and sweet and clean and lovely, the fuel from sugar cane goes racing. I can dance. Nah, I cannot sing. But one thing we can agree, we race on ethanol.
There's a reason why. In 4 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Anything Mayo can do, we can do Boulder.
The choice is yours. Are you up for some sandwich kick and flavor? Are you Miracle Whip?
UFC is at Camp Versus. Next Sunday, surging phenom John Jones takes on veteran striker Vladimir Machusenko. Plus, it's the showdown of explosive middleweights Mark Munoz and Yushin Okami. The UCF Live next Sunday at 9 Eastern, all a part of Camp Versus. Up front, it is Will Power with about an 0.8 of a second lead on Helio Castroneves. Just a matter of a few car lengths. Is Tony Kanaan running in 18th position.
And, you know, even though we say that this airport circuit, you have all this wide track and it's bumpy and it's opportunity for passing, it still is difficult to pass. Just because it's wide and all that pavement's there doesn't mean you can make it easy to play and pass. You really have to set it up and have a good run off these corners. And if your car's sliding around and you can't get the power down to get that run, you're not going to get the pass though.
Up front, it is Power slightly ahead of Helio Castroneves. Jack, what about the pit window here?
Bob, as I said at the start of the show, I think you got to look at around lap 30, but unlike most races that we have, you know, most of the pits are concrete, at least where the teams service their car. Take a look at this. It's all blacktop. They're 40-foot stalls, but do you see the wet? Do you see the weepers? Now, this is Helio Castroneves' pit stall. Since the start of the race, they've had blowers out there trying to get these weepers. They just gave up trying to dry it off. This is going to create a potential problem, especially when you're finished with your service. And if you light up your tires and you hit that, you can get sideways, Robbie, real quick.
And Jack, when you're talking about that pit window at around 30, that's sort of the middle of the pit window. If you were someone running near the back of the pack and you wanted to take a gamble, you could stop on lap 25. But people like Will Power, those that are leading, you heard Michael Cannon say, we want to settle in and we know where we want to stop. That lap will be more like lap 34. Now, Paul Tracy, we saw him make the contact right in this area with Rafael Matos, and I thought I saw a little piece of front end plate fly off. And now his march to the front is not as quick as it was. So when he got in there a little bit of that chrome horn, I think he lost some of that right front wing. And now without all your right front wing, it's going to be tough to be fast.
Here is Takuma Sato running back in 12th position for KB Racing Technology. There is Paul Tracy. His finishes this year in the two races that he has been in, 14th at Watkins Glen and 13th at Toronto last weekend. See
there you can see where some of it's going at the front end of that, but it's not the area that's creating downforce for there, so his balance still maybe should remain the same. The problem is if it is busted, is it going to get worse?
Just behind Paul is Marco Andretti. This is a replay from earlier when he had the slight contact with Matos.
See it bend and that little piece to go. There it goes, off to the right. What a shame for Rafael Matos. And I'll say that, you know, Paul Tracy likes to be aggressive, and he is a fast starter, but he'll know that he was in the wrong spot there. He'll feel bad for Matos. He was just trying to push and didn't clear soon enough.
And that's identical what he did a year ago to his teammate at the time, who was Mario Moraes.
Well, he'll get less trouble for doing that to Matos than he did to his teammate, that's for sure.
Yeah, Jimmy and Kevin will be a little less forgiving.
Call him the Thrill from West Hill. From a suburb of Toronto, of course, was loved by the fans in Toronto last weekend, and the Canadian fans are also pulling for him and Alex Tagliani.
And when we were just looking at that, you could see he just kind of looked over to his right mirror,
So he definitely is feeling a little bit of pressure from behind with Marco. I mean, again, Paul's not going to do anything of moving over and giving any windows to Marco, but he knows he's there.
Whoa, you see that? He just normally you'd watch, you saw, Robbie, that shot we had of him launching through the arrow, that turn 2 curve. Normally you do that in qualifying, not in the middle of the race.
And the National Guard car, driven by Dan Weldon, is running 21st.
And he's been chasing this car all weekend, really, since they rolled it off. But, you know, the motto there is never give up. And, you know, you never lay back. You always keep pushing no matter what.
And on the telemetry, when you see the steering and how far that trace went over into the blue, the rule of thumb is the more steering, the slower you go, because that's more scrub. If you can get the car to turn, obviously there's tight corners here, but the less steering that you can get away with, whether it doesn't matter if it's road course or oval, that is the key to speed.
A great theory if you can apply it.
Second place finisher at this year's Indianapolis 500 for Panther Racing and National Guard, Dan Weldon. Coming off corner number 12. If you go straight ahead, you enter the pits. If you turn right, you go to turn 13.
Right at 140 miles an hour there.
Here's Mario Marias, and he's running 14th. There's Takuma Sato. Hideki Muto.
Now Schechter will be a lap down because he came in and got a nose, but he certainly got a KB sandwich there. He's going to the outside. Marias is taking a look on the inside of 10 now.
Oh, he's going to make it.
And that's the way to set up a pass. He made a good run through turn 9 onto that one straightaway. He used up all the runways he came off there. That's why he went to the outside of our screen to keep that momentum going. And then he had the inside track going into turn 10. Well done.
Robbie Floyd with more on the KV Racing Technology team.
Well, Paul Tracy has his blog where he talked about yesterday that they didn't even have a meeting about what to do on the start with those 3 cars running nose to tail, 13, 14, and 15. But today I said something to Paul, and he said, well, we did have a coming to Jesus meeting just a moment ago. Myself and Kevin Galkoven, we stuck our 3 monkeys down on the chair and said, guys, I'm not going to tell you how to race. Just be smart and don't race the KV cars harder than you would anybody else out there. Well, Paul Tracy, of course, raced his way from 15th up to 10th, and it looks like the other guys now starting to press as well.
There are only 2 cars that are not on the lead lap. We mentioned Thomas Schechter, and the other one not on the lead lap is Rafa Matos because of his contact with Tracy that sent him to the pit lane.
Schechter did the right thing there, guys. You just kind of pulled aside. Hey, I'm a lap down. I'm not going to mess up your race. Go after it.
20 laps out of 95 completed here at the City Center Raceway in Edmonton, Alberta. You're watching Eyes on IndyCar Racing on Versus.
For men.
Welcome back to the Honda Edmonton Indy at City Center Airport, which has become a raceway for these Eyes on Indy cars. And the leader is Will Power. There you see him. He has led all the way so far and has advanced his lead to 1.4 seconds. Will Power continuing to pretty much dominate this series this year.
You just watch his car, and when he hits those curves, it just calmly kind of settles back down. I mean, it really looks like a well-balanced, fun race car to drive.
The front group are also all on the red sidewalled alternates, and they don't have the same kind of longevity do the black. So when you heard the crew members, and it's great to get a look at the whole racetrack from one vantage point and follow someone around. But the leaders certainly are in a position right now where they just want to maintain that grip. The first run you make on the red sidewalled alternates are the ones where you have to be easy on them because you can wear them out on a more green racetrack.
Runway number 12 is the front stretch. Here they go into turn number 1 and 2 in this very quick switchback area.
And this is the area where Jan said is smoother pavement just kind of through this switchback because this isn't part of the runways. But soon as you transition back, you get onto these runways.
Going to stay up high here to take you through turns 8 and 9.
Very fast, bumpy section right through here, turn 11. Look at all that track you have to use because you got that big old runway.
just that great perspective when you just watch one camera and follow one driver all the way around. It gives you the idea of the wide open spaces and areas where you still thread the needle and run it right up against the wall.
Great for the fans that are there in the grandstands. You know, they get a little bit of the same perspective where they see what's going on, where the plus-minus gains is of everybody around this race.
This place kind of reminds you of Burke Lakefront Airport, where the kart series used to run in Cleveland, Ohio. Same kind of a setup. And yes, the fans can almost see all the way around the track. Jack?
And guys, as wide as this racetrack, as we take a look at Tony Kanaan as he tries to work his way, gets around Simona Di Silvestro. Keep in mind, because as wide as it is, you can escape. You can get away. You can get out of the way, so we don't have a lot of full course yellows. So what does that result in? Not a lot of strategy. When do you short field? Do you short field? Jan, you're absolutely right. Everybody tells me lap 34, and they hope that's good. Look at this tight quarters racing, guys. This will take your breath away.
Baguette now getting a move from the inside. All it takes is one little miscue as he was dicing ahead with Alex Lloyd. That just broke a little bit of momentum, and then here comes Tony Kanaan.
But what Tony needs to do now to continually get up through the field is he needs to stay close enough to the competition in front of him to capitalize on what happens. If he's not close enough when there's a little miscue or a little hiccup in front of him, then he's not going to be able to capitalize and gain spots. So he's got to keep pressing.
Tony Kanaan is at the top of the list in terms of big movers. He has gained 7 spots since the drop of the green flag. Tracy 5 and Marco Andretti 5th. 5 positions. Alex Tagliani, he's currently running in 19th. We'll take a break and be back for scheduled pit stops coming up in just a moment.
If you know passion, you know my name. If the roar of a race car gives you goosebumps. If you believe that no one ever remembers who comes in second. If you're into checkered flags, chugging milk, and burning rubber. You know my name. If you've ever pressed your nose to a chain-link fence to get a closer look. If you own a pair of earplugs, if you know Andretti, Rahal, and Unser, you know my name. You know my name because I've been here from the very beginning. As vital today as I was over 100 years ago. 100 miles to go. I am a powerhouse. I am running wide open with no finish line in sight. I am the fire that never goes out. You know my name. I am then, I am now, I am forever. I am Firestone, and I am proud.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
The fun never stops with the Peak Power inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great for travel, mobile office, and all-out tailgating. It's easy to hook up. Plug in almost anything. Laptop, cell phone, TV, blender, whatever. Peak inverters turn your car into a party on wheels.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
On IndyCar Series is at Camp Versus, and we'll take our tents and sleeping bags next Sunday to Mid-Ohio for the Honda Indy 200. Scott Dixon's historic win last year earned him the title of IndyCar's winningest driver. Now he looks for a repeat. He'll have to get, of course, past Will Power and Dario Franchitti and the others. The ISON IndyCar Series, Sunday, August 8th, 2:30 Eastern, all part of Camp Versus. This just happened. We'll take a look at it.
It all started from Weldon was nicely letting some of these guys go by, and it just slowed up Franchitti a little bit of enough. Briscoe saw it happening. He got to run by it, got the position.
So we'll move Briscoe up to 4th now, and Franchitti goes back to 5th. We have started lapping some of the slower cars. Weldon is down a lap, and Mira also is down a lap now. And
very quickly, Dan Weldon thought something was going awry in the rear. That's why they came in and changed all 4 Firestone tires to see if they can solve it that way.
Wow, Briscoe is just moving forward, and he passing both of the Ganassi cars.
So we got Penske sitting 1, 2, 3.
Yep, and Penske 4 and 5.
Target, Chip Ganassi.
Okay.
Roger's with you, but maybe not.
Well, as we have indicated a couple of times, Chip Ganassi becomes the only owner to have winning cars at the Daytona 500, the Brickyard 400, and the Indianapolis 500 in the same year as a result of Jamie McMurray's win this week, or this day. Here is Briscoe getting to the inside of Dixon.
Forces his way to the inside of turn number 10. Nice and clean, and then on the outside, Dario Franchitti tries to take advantage of that. Doesn't gain that position, but Ryan Briscoe is the one, as we heard in the pre-race show, had gone the wrong way on settings and qualifying. They put that back, so now, in a way, you would assume they have the setup. That's why Penske now, as he's let it settle out, is 1, 2, 3.
More on Scott Dixon from Lindy.
Well, Scott basically took a dirt shower in his car this morning. Now, he didn't go off course and cause a yellow. He just went a little bit outside of the line. Let me tell you, he got hit with so much debris. They had to replace his front wing. It looked like it'd been in a hailstorm. They had to tape up his mirrors. They had to tape up the rear wing. And his helmet had so many marks on it from all of that, and they've recovered from it. But he had a rough morning, guys.
Wow, I've never heard the term dirt shower. That's good. That's good. I like that, Lindy.
And I think part of it, just through the practice sessions and qualifying, we saw a lot of guys, spin or go off this track. And again, I think part of the mindset of a driver is when you have all this openness, and I think I used the word optimistic, you just feel a little bit more that you want to challenge it. And that's why you see more of it. Simona, how about the job she's done all year, really, as a single car effort? Remember, she doesn't have a teammate.
Yep. All right, here we go. Here's Dan Weldon in. And this is not a routine pit stop.
Well, we know, that he had just let all those cars go by and thought there was something maybe going on with his car.
Down to Jack.
Guys, I want to show you during pit stops where you really want to focus during the pit stop. In these cases, you want to watch the fueler and the vent man. Why? Because you've got to get that fuel nozzle in exactly right. Paul Tracy's team didn't get it right last weekend in Toronto. Cost him about 10 positions on the racetrack. Focus your attention during these pit stops on the fuel man.
Good battle here, 10th. 11th and 12th, Tracy, Andretti, and Sato.
Yeah, is that a mixture for fireworks or what?
And Sato looked like he might have had the better of Marco Andretti, but Marco fought back and saved that position.
Here's how Tracy moved ahead of Andretti.
Good heads-up driving by Marco just to say, hey, he's got me on that gap. I don't want to squeeze him out anymore. That is going into turn 10.
And this is where it looked like Sato had been able to take advantage of the broken momentum, but couldn't quite get that job done. Perfectly positioned is Paul Tracy. That's going to slow down Marco just a little bit. Then right after it goes Sato. But you don't want to be on the outside on 11. That's a tough place to make a pass.
So Paul Tracy is in the top 10.
And remember, they're at the end of their tire life right now, so there's not as much grip in these tires, and these guys are just sliding the cars all around.
Simona Di Silvestro is in, Robbie.
Bob, I was looking at it. It's very crowded. Alex Lloyd on her way in. He's going to have Hideki Mucho on her way out, trying to get out the floor. Going to the black tires. Absolutely no changes. Michael Kenisic, they're happy. She's out good.
Now, lap 33 is good. Same thing for Paul Tracy, but I think the fronts will all come in. The leaders will get at least to lap 34. That'll help you. Every lap counts. Here's the fuel that Jack was talking about. That is going to be the limiting factor. factor as he gets out as Lloyd comes in.
Leaving the battle on the racetrack now between Andretti and Sato.
And we're going to really want to see where Marco cycles back with Paul Tracy, because Marco stayed out, and this is when Marco's got to really lay it down. We're looking at Danica in for her stop.
She's going for brand new reds. She has a brand new sticker set of red tires that she's going with. Remember, she was one of the few that started on the black, but they have a problem. They have to go back up again.
Wow, a very slow pit stop. 12.7 seconds
You
for
saw
Danica.
the air jack guy pull out, and then he had to go back in, so they had to snug up a wheel nut or something.
Ryan Hunter-Ray is laid out. Here he comes, along with E.J. Biso, who was running in 7th spot.
Justin Wilson.
Stay on board with Wilson.
Hit your marks, plug it in.
EJ's away.
Yep.
And now Justin will go back out on the racetrack.
Hunter-Ray, there's Wilson. You got Viso, and then there's Wilson behind him. So as we saw everybody shuffling out, we saw Viso go out in the set screen while Wilson was still in the box.
So here come the leaders.
And here is Will Power, his first stop of the day, hitting his marks perfectly. You can see they took off the red tires and put on the black. That crew led by Billy Vincent, they needed a flawless pit stop. It looks like they got it. By the way, guys, they told him in that first stint his fuel numbers were perfect.
Kind of is an indication of how his season is going, isn't it?
Now, you hear him have that thing lit up as he was just waiting there, just against that rev limiter. As soon as they dropped him, off he went.
Now, Ryan Briscoe has pitted. Elio also. We go back to Sato, Tracy, and the two Ganassi cars.
The duo. Here comes the Target Ganassi duo. That helps you as Tony Kanaan gets service as well. So they have done an extra lap. That helps later on.
But they were held up a little bit maybe by Tracy as a balance.
The Ganassi boys in at the same time. Dario Franchitti, they're taking off the reds, putting on the black, same as Will Power and same as Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon gets out first and Dario Franchitti makes it out right after.
And you can see how tight of a squeeze that is. You're holding a rear tire, you're trying to stay just as thin as I can and let him thread the needle.
Visually, it looked like Dixon had a great stop.
Looked like Dixon may not have taken a full load of fuel. That's what Jack was saying before. But I think you'd want to save that till your second stop. What helps you when you pit later, really, it pays dividends the next time you pit because you need less fuel.
So that means less time to plug in.
What I love here is the threading of the needle between the two. Now let's see if there's any sort of motion or time. No, they waited for the fuel. So that looks like that was a full fill. It was just very well done.
Well done.
Well, Will Power has gone back to the front, and his advantage now over Elio is almost 2 seconds, 1.6. Briscoe running third, then Dixon and Franchitti fourth and fifth. Simona Di Silvestro sixth. Ryan Hunter-Ray, Justin Wilson, E.J. Biso, and Marco Andretti are the top 10, and Wilson has what, spun?
Definitely slow wide on the course there. Looks like he's got some issues, guys, because it's not as though he spun. He's back up to speed here.
He's got damage.
Well, once again, a big disappointment. Last week, of course, he led the most laps and had dirty tires and got passed on the restart.
There's damage on the front of Marco Andretti's front wing also. And Justin's car just looks like one corner down. It just looks...
It looks like it's something in the right rear because the left front is up. But The tire didn't look flat. It looked like it was suspension, because we didn't see the tire being flat.
And we just got that picture of Marco Andretti's front wing askew as well.
And do you see where Marco is relative to Paul Tracy? There's 2 cars behind Marco, so Paul Tracy is back in 12th. Marco's in 9th, so it just shows you who won that pit stop battle between those 2 guys. That goes to Marco.
Continues to dominate things here at Edmonton as Justin Wilson has come in for a pit stop, and something serious. It could be terminal.
With 2 simple words. And now it's time to join in. Announcing the Claim Your Mazda Summer Sales Event. Enjoy the high resale value of Mazda 3, Mazda 6, the driver's alternative to Camry and Accord, or the 7-passenger Mazda CX-9. All available with 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus no monthly payments until October 2010. So why compromise? Hurry in and claim your Mazda today.
At the Indy 500, drivers put complete trust in their cars. But when you're out on the road trying to make it to work, are you sure you can trust your motor oil?
Put your trust in Peak Performance Motor Oil. Formulated to protect against thermal breakdown, Peak is the only motor oil tough enough to be the official oil of the Indianapolis 500.
Whether you cover 500 miles in a few hours or it takes hours to get to work, you can count on Peak. When you peak, you win.
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected Ryan Hunter Ray. Select race transport. Mission finish first. Fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
Welcome to Camp Versus. Okay, everyone gather around. Today's lesson, conflict resolution. When 2 campers have a score to settle, we've got just the place. Jones and Matushenko are taped up and ready with Muay Thai elbows and fists flying. Plus, with grappler Munoz taking on striker Okami, lights out might come a little early. Jones Matushenko live next Sunday at 9, only on Versus.
Danica Patrick off course here at Edmonton. Long period of time in the grass before she got back on the racetrack.
Probably didn't damage her race car, but she took in enough grass into the radiator probably that she still needs to get down pit road. Let's see what happens.
Oh, goes to the inside of Baguette. And whoa! I don't think I have room after all. And then you're out trying to find the straightest path that you can back to the racetrack. It just happens to be a really long way.
Like I say, they'll definitely be watching the telemetry back in the pits right now just to monitor the oil temperature, water temperature, just with picking up all that grass.
Well, Jack kept talking about how you don't have many caution periods when you have a track this big and wide. You can see why. How far off was the racetrack was she, but you still have all that grass to drive across, and no harm, no foul.
Will Power with a 2.5-second advantage on Elio Castroneves. Now, again, as Libby pointed out in the pre-race show, if Will Power emerges today with a 106-point advantage on second place, he will clinch the Mario Andretti Trophy for Road Course Championship with 2 races to go. Mid-Ohio next week, and then a couple of weeks, and then we will, of course, end the road course season at Infineon Raceway in Sonoma, California.
And that's a big exclamation point, the fact that he could clinch that with still 2 more road courses. I mean, that's taking it home there.
The other question is, if he continues on this pace, is he going to clinch the overall championship well ahead of Homestead Miami? Robbie, what's the problem with Justin?
unfortunate circumstances for Justin Wilson. Evidently what happened earlier happened again as he's pulling back into the pits. Just a minute ago, the right rear broke. He said something's wrong, didn't know what. The team didn't know what. They pulled off the cowling, and take a look at this. This is the top part, or the bottom part, whichever, of the shock. There's where it's supposed to attach onto the dampening rod. The rod goes in the middle. It just broke the rod. So he comes back in again now, and they're saying it happened again. This time they're looking at the left rear. That just shows you how demanding, how tough, how rough this Edmonton course is.
And we just saw that universal sign from Justin that something wasn't right in the rear end. When something isn't right in the rear end and you go for the brakes, you get spun around there.
That's the car just
under straight line braking right there.
Totally gets that. It's like you lose one of the corners, almost like a wheel coming off.
On board with him. Let's see, he's going into Trenton braking right now.
Drag.
Yeah, you could hear just something dragging as he went to the brake pedal.
Quite a ride, huh?
Yeah, did a nice job of keeping it running.
You know, as we get through this race, you know, we talk about how physical it is on the drivers. Well, that same thing is happening to these race cars. So there could be some more attrition just with regards of the pounding they do on the cars, but then just the sheer bumpiness of the racetrack and transitioning from runways.
On board with Ryan Hunter-Reay, who has gotten around Simona Di Silvestro. Ryan Hunter-Reay now is in 6th spot. Trying to make sure that Power doesn't clinch the road course championship this weekend. Here's how it happened.
Same place we've seen before, Robbie.
Yep, good run off of turn 9. Come to the braking zone. I got the inside. You can't turn in until I get by you.
Just about all the passing we've seen today has been there.
He doesn't want Will Power to clinch this championship with 2 to go. He wants to keep moving himself up, and he is now the lead driver in the Andretti stable, moving his way forward.
Ryan is really gelled this year in terms of showing his ability on the road courses. He's been exceptionally fast pretty much on all the road courses this year. He's done a great job.
He has 4 consecutive top 10 finishes going back to Texas, where he was 7th, 8th at Iowa, 7th at Watkins Glen, and 3rd last week in Toronto. Back up front. It is still Power, Castro, Nevis, and Briscoe. The 3 Penske cars are running 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The Target Chip Ganassi drivers continue to run behind Team Penske. They're in 4th and 5th, namely Scott Dixon and Dario Franchitti. Jack?
Guys, as I analyzed that first series of pit stops, you realize that Will Power and Helio Castroneves, they came in 1 lap earlier, and Brian Briscoe came in 2 laps earlier than Dixon and Franchitti. So how is that going to play out? Well, remember, fuel goes into these cars at approximately 3 gallons a second. Your next pit stop, if it stays green, should be your last pit stop, and you'll have plenty of fuel. That difference may give a little bit of an advantage to both Franchitti and Scott Dixon. In fact, the Penske team has already notified their drivers that they were able, the Target cars, to go 1 lap extra, and they say we may have to try and make it up. It'll be fun to watch that last pit stop, which should come around lap 67 for the Penske cars, lap 68 for the Target Chip Ganassi rivalry.
Dixon trying to work around some slower traffic. Bertrand Baguette just ahead, and Roman Cini is ahead of Baguette.
Well, the one thing is, Jack said the Penske cars maybe have to just be conscious of the Ganassi cars going a lap longer. They can control that pretty well right now with being 1, 2, and 3. They can set that pace and pad themselves pretty comfortably.
Especially when you have Scott Dixon yet to clear the same lap traffic that they have cleared. That's just a nice bonus to pull out the time gaps. On Marco, I think Marco might be slowing. We had said earlier that he had a front wing dislodged, and now he's holding up this train a little bit. Yeah, there's more contact. So Marco is slowing. They're all trying to thread their way by.
And I think that was Dixon maybe brushed the back of Baguette a little bit. Nothing that you'd hurt. Schechter going slow on the left side. Marco going slow on the right side.
We know that his nose wing is askew, but this looks, the camber on the right front doesn't look right to me. And you can see the wing is really dragging now.
The front nose is on, but the main plane, that front main plane is dropped down.
where he started to slow. And there's a little bit of contact there between Baguette.
Yep. But his wing still isn't down yet. We're looking at Mark. You can see it's leaning a little bit to the left, but it hadn't dropped totally down, so as it is there.
And look at that, Bob, up at the top of the screen. What do we see?
It's a full course yellow.
It's a full course yellow.
And it's because of Alex Lloyd. And we are right at the halfway point of this race. So a bit of a breather here at midpoint.
We needed that because that's going to bunch him up and get some more.
That's right.
Get some more action. Then all of a sudden, so it's not driving for fuel. It's driving for.
I was going to say, so any fuel concerns there may have been for the Penske guys, that went away. And the good news is it just brought everybody back together.
And hopefully Marco Andretti has repaired things that he can get back into the race.
I think that camber that I saw was because it's so interesting. With no downforce on the front was running high, and then it makes the camber look off. So it's just amazing. If the front wing isn't doing what it's supposed to, how much that gets the car tips. Amazing.
Our first caution of the race here on lap number 47.
And they are at a position where I would expect no one would pit unless you're a guy like Marco Andretti with pieces missing on the car. Otherwise, you stay out there, regroup, then go for it.
Yeah, and Marco has lost a lap in this. So depending on where he is with track position, he could come in and just top off, or they could make another adjustment and isn't going to hurt him at all.
Hideki Muto between first and second. We do have 11 cars on the lead lap at the midway point, and the Homatra safety team goes to the aid of Alex Lloyd. Alex Lloyd's rookie year here at the IZOD IndyCar Series.
I just saw Justin Wilson go by, so obviously they've tried to fix again on his car.
It just takes 2 rear shocks. Yeah, you got to keep going. Got to keep plugging away.
Yeah. Eventually you got to say, wait a minute, we don't know what's causing this, so
well,
figure it out.
There's a lot of curb hopping, a
ton of curb hopping.
Yeah.
And that would make sense if it's on the right side, the right rear, because that's that one big curb you hit.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're laid out, but is that just a...
No, I would say...
That's just a practice for the guys going over the wall there, just to get their positions. Yep, you got them.
I like it, though, because it got my attention, because I just finished saying no one would pit.
That's right.
Like, hey, what are you doing?
The pits are open, and we'll now see...
And the reason that you're saying that, Jan, is because even if you did come in right now, you still would have to make another stop no matter what. So now, why come in? Stay out till you get into your window to make just one more stop.
It does work, though. I've looked like 4 times over here. Do I sure have the number right? I'm like, no, there's no reason why they would pit in my book unless they've got some really interesting strategy that I haven't figured out yet.
Well, we'll see here in just a second, because they're coming down the straightaway that will lead to the pit in.
Wait, gotta wait for target cars, though. Let's see. No, good try. Okay, well, they got our attention. Now, Vitor Meira, he's running near the back, and same with Matos. Anybody who's down a lap, just go ahead and fill up. That's fine.
Heck yeah.
So Vitor Meira brings the A.J. Foyt ABC Supply Company car in for a pit stop. He is down a lap, and so is Rafael Matos, and he, too, makes a pit stop. 49 laps completed here at Edmonton. Will Power leads his teammates Castroneves and Briscoe. Restart this time. We have just gone back to racing. Will Power. And there's Hideki Muto moving over to allow Helio Castroneves to so much for the bunching up on Will Power already.
Tagliani. Tags has really struggled all weekend just to find the speed. You know, he's gotten the car where it's been really good in the slow stuff, but then when they try and get it better in the high-speed stuff, for example, right now is right on board. That's
Simona. They say yellow breeds yellow.
Yep. Is she got it fired up, guys? Can you grab reverse? It doesn't look like she's got anything going on.
She was running 7.
That means I need to get the car fired up.
So, did she do it by herself, or was there some help?
Each J.J. Viso, with whom she was racing for 7th position.
So a little bit of help.
Yep. Paul Tracy's moved up to 7th.
And he takes a spot from his teammate.
Wow.
Well, they seized the moment.
Yeah, thanks for getting everybody out of the way, EJ. Thanks.
Marco back in. As Simona wants desperately to get the car fired up so she can get back in the race.
Well, if they hurry, she's obviously trying to keep from losing a lap, but it's not going to happen.
Not going to happen. And again, Jan, we are not going to see any of our lead group in.
No.
Because we are not close enough to that. Probably we got to be at lap 70 before
That's 60 actually. 60 for the early part of the window, 70 on the last.
So our second car of full course caution comes quickly after number 1. Power leads.
Anything Mayo can do, we can do Boulder. The choice is yours. Are you up for some sandwich kicking flavor? Are you Miracle Whip?
My boyfriend has one.
My girlfriend, my older sister.
She has 2 kids.
My college roommate who lives up north.
My mom. My mom. My neighbors.
Our neighbors.
My daughter.
My daughter.
We were in the same class in elementary school. My boyfriend.
My parents.
Our parents. My lovely wife.
And my husband has one.
Yeah, as well as a fellow I work with. My girlfriend, she moved out east.
I'm a city girl.
Everybody knows somebody who loves a Honda. Who do you know?
Hello?
Hey, Mama, how many eggs do you use in your cornbread?
3, honey.
Well, how about if I use 12?
Mama, I'm stuck again.
Can we make a turkey on a hot plate?
This is terrifying.
How do you get the lumps out of Jell-O?
Hey, Mama.
Mama?
There's only so many times you could tell someone how to make gravy. But my webpage on GoDaddy won't ever get tired.
They should call it Go Mama.
You know they should.
Simple to build websites start at less than $5 a month. Right now at GoDaddy.com.
In a high-stakes world of intelligence, there's no room for compromise. You choose the best money can buy. Royal Purple Motor Oil enhances performance and provides protection beyond ordinary synthetics.
With salt.
Those who won't compromise. Only Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. Salt. Theaters July 23rd.
Monday on the Daily Line, we'll wrap up the 2010 Tour de France with Versus commentators Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin.
Plus, Packers running back Ryan Grant stops by for a visit to talk about former teammate Brett Favre and teach Reese how not to fumble.
Don't want to miss that. We'll also start getting you ready for the huge August 1st UFC card with our MMA guru, Ariel Helwani.
All that plus the news, scores, and highlights, and Rob's 5 cannoli, that's Monday on the Daily Line, only on Versus.
World Extreme Cage Fighting as at Camp Versus this August. The bantamweight belt is on the line in a rematch of 2 of the most explosive fighters. Champion Dominic Cruz is set to make his first title defense against top contender Joseph Benavidez. World Extreme Cage Fighting live August 18th at 9 o'clock Eastern, all part of Camp Versus. Getting ready to go back to racing here at City Center Airport in Edmonton, Alberta. Will Power, Elio Castroneves, Ryan Briscoe, Scott Dixon, and Dario Franchitti are your top 5. And now Ryan Hunter-Ray is running in 6th position. And Simona Di Silvestro has gotten restarted. Lindy?
Well, Bob, Will's team just told him, hey, Will, they're giving us a warning. You went a little bit too fast on the last restart.
All right, then. So let's punch him up there, Will.
He's a pole sitter. He can set the pace.
Yeah, but he had Hideki Muto behind him last time. Now he's got Castroneves, so I think Castroneves will be right there.
Whoa, look at how it backed it all the way up there with KV cars. Whoa!
Apex Brazil
in the middle.
Apex Brazil green flag comes out. Back to competition. And they squeeze down into turn 1. Viso Viso with a drive-through penalty. Ooh, we saw some tire smoke.
Oh!
We got a
yellow, green,
crash.
yellow again.
Tagliani,
Romancini, and Tagliani.
And so that was Viso that bailed off at the start and went down to serve his penalty.
Right.
That was smart, because you can only do a drive-through under green, so he waited for him to say green, 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 then ducked off into the pit, so that would have counted. Now you have a yellow, and you pick up the space.
Very good.
That's pretty nice.
Yep.
There was definitely some chaos back in the field there on that race.
When he peeled off to the pits, I was like, what's going on here? Danica Patrick gets up the inside of Baguette, and then there was contact, and that looked like Kanaan. Kanaan touched Tagliani, and Tagliani just speared poor Romancini, who was just trying to get out of the way.
Here's Tony's on board.
Riding on board with TK. Now look off to the left. Right there is Tags. Where's the contact? There it is. Tag stays on the gas there, just laying down the tire smoke. Okay, from Tag's view, look at this, Jan.
Okay, I'm giving Kanaan room. Everything's good. Oh, it's not good.
And that didn't take much. That was just the left front.
Wow.
Romancini just nowhere to go on that, but it was just a little contact from the left front of Kanaan to the right rear Tags. It doesn't take that much. And look at the nice rubber pavement.
He tried to do a donut. He tried to do a 100-mile-an-hour donut and keep the thing going, but unfortunately it drove him right into Romancini.
Yeah, he was watching the drifters out on the track earlier in the day.
So the question is there damage on Kanaan's car?
I doubt it. It was pretty light.
Yeah. There certainly is on Romancini and Tagliani.
So Viso is a big benefactor in that whole deal.
There is.
Penalty.
Has done a little bit of grinding on that left front wheel. And you can certainly see the reciprocating wheel mark on the side of Mr. Tagliani's machine there.
Right on the B of the Bowers and Wilkins, the smaller one. Right,
at least he didn't rub off the sponsorship.
So one of the Canadian drivers is out of competition, but the other one, Paul Tracy, is running 7th. There are 10 cars on the lead lap. On lap number 54 at Edmonton, Alberta.
Crunch time, wheat thins. Right here, right now. Hiding amongst your friends won't help you. You and your tasty whole grain. This can only end one way. Wheat thins, toasted, whole grain, crunch. The crunch is calling.
I compete with sugarcane ethanol.
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 Ethanol is the fuel we use on every IZOD IndyCar race.
Cane ethanol diversifies America's fuel supply.
And it should be in your tank. It's in mine. Learn more about advanced, renewable sugarcane ethanol.
Story about a man with a car and a job, a wife and a kid. His name is Bob. Just a regular guy with a regular car, but it's what he rolls on that makes him a star. His Firestone tires are known far and wide. The way they perform gives a sense of pride. That's Bob's story. He ain't no liar, because everybody knows the legends ride Firestone.
Legendary drivers need legendary tires.
At the Indy 500, drivers put complete trust in their cars. But when you're out on the road trying to make it to work, are you sure you can trust your motor oil?
Put your trust in Peak Performance Motor Oil. Formulated to protect against thermal breakdown, Peak is the only motor oil tough enough to be the official oil of the Indianapolis 500.
Whether you cover 500 miles in a few hours or it takes hours to get to work, you can count on Peak. When you peak, you win.
The Honda Edmonton Indy at City Center Airport, Edmonton, Alberta. Under another full-course caution, Will Power with the lead over Elio Castroneves, Ryan Briscoe, Scott Dixon, and Dario Franchitti. Jack?
You're down here in the Izod Performance Pit Center. I want to show you the track is so rough. I tried to come up with a way to help you understand it. Let's go back to the old washboard, right? Let's take my little toy car. Here's Dario Franchitti. Basically, Robbie Buell and Jan Bikas, you can identify with this. It'd be like trying to roll right across this washboard. Dario Franchitti told me, not only is it that rough, he said, Jack, take your little toy car and take it all the way up to this big lip right here. He said, when you get the curves, it'll launch the car right off the racetrack. We've already seen that with Paul Tracy, haven't we, boys?
What I want to know is, Jack, where in the world did you get that washboard? I didn't even know they made those things. Or is that the way you do your laundry?
Same place I got the kazoo. No, that's the same place where I got my toy kazoo. We'll have that next week, okay?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
And Jan's asking me if he can have that toy model at Franchitti's if you get to keep it.
Danica Patrick getting another nose and wing.
Yep. Now, watch EJ Viso just as the green comes out. Remember, he needs to serve a drive-through penalty.
So he's trying to make sure he hears on his radio, green, 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 and just shoots off for the pit road. In a way, he was holding back because he can't serve a penalty unless it's under green. That was very clever.
Yep.
And that's what created that big flare out of all those guys back on that restart. All of a sudden they were, almost 3-4 wide there, and that, like I say, is he was just kind of slowed up waiting for the green.
Now, Robbie, we are to the point to where you would start considering pitting.
Well,
because
the first to make the last stop, Kamado, right?
There's 50, we're on lap 56. You normally would have to wait until lap 60 to make your final stop. However, if you think this caution is going to go on for a while, you might take a gamble.
EJ Viso
I think if I was Ryan Hunter-Reay, that's exactly what I would do, boys.
Back to Edmonton in a moment.
Score.com.
Cars moving off of turn number 12, getting set to restart this race. Power leads Elio down through turns 13 and 14, and away we go once again.
And Power was just slowing everybody down before they get into 13 and 14, just from when the officials came in and said, hey, that was too fast. You saw guys further back in the queue just kind of popping out, saying, come on.
On board with Paul Tracy running 7th.
Got by Hunter-Reay, though. He got to the inside of turn 1 and took Hunter-Reay. Passing on, but that's not for position.
But he's giving himself a good cushion to this guy right here who are on board with Hunter-Reay of coming right back at him.
Remember, Paul Tracy had front wing damage, but he's since made a pit stop. If you have a broken front wing, you can add front wing into it and get it rebalanced. Moves ahead of him.
Just ahead of him is Franchitti,
and that was
Briscoe, and
he
Dixon.
got by him.
Franchitti's all over. Franchitti had to check up a little bit on Briscoe there.
Briscoe has lost the spot. As we were on board with Tracy, you could see a move up front.
Look at that. Tracy wanted to make the move. He was trying to get everything he could.
There's another move on Briscoe. Briscoe's lost another spot.
So that is Briscoe right in front of Tracy, and that is for the 4th spot. Briscoe running in P4 right now.
So both Dixon and Franchitti have now got by Briscoe. And here comes Paul Tracy. He knows if those two cars have got by him, then maybe I've got a shot.
Yeah, and that is for the 5th spot. 4th spot is with Franchitti already going by him.
Closes in.
Now you got to get the power down. Get the power down so it sets you up as you go into turn 11. Not going to happen here. His next place to make this is you come through the fast chicane onto the front straightaway and then going into turn 1. So he's got to set it up. Right here's the key. Right through this transition right there. Big bump. Be on the gas.
Well, Paul Tracy's been struggling through that chicane all weekend. He's faster in some of the other areas. He said he really likes this 1, 2, 3 all the way up to turn number 5, but had trouble through that fast chicane. Oh, he's over the curve.
You ask like that, so you've been doing that all day.
That's supposed to be for qualifying.
Let's get down to Robbie Floyd with a report on Alex Tagliani.
Tags worked his way almost up into the top 10 of what happened from the driver's perspective.
Just, an unfortunate incident, for the Bowers and Wilkins all-wheels car. I think our first stint was a good stint. We went long as saving fuel, and, we're doing the best thing with what we had, and I think we could have finished in the top 10 today. Just unfortunate incident in turn 1.
Car was a lot better. You'd already made up 6th position.
Yeah, it was a lot better. The guys did a good job, and, from where we started, finishing in the top 10 was going to be a good thing.
Proof that Paul Tracy's moved up into 6th spot, and guys, he came in, and took up new black earlier. It actually helped some of his understeer problem. He likes these tires, but they're talking about changing to a new set of reds when he comes in the next time. Remember, he had 2 sets of reds to start today, and although he has a little more understeer with the reds, they're saying he's going faster with those.
That is Tagliani's 3rd DNF this year.
They might want to rethink that because Paul Tracy is on a charge on the blacks, and yes, he might go a little bit faster, but if this helps the balance of his race car, man, put on there what's giving you the payday at the time. He's moving through on those at the moment.
But the red should be a faster. I mean, the balance may not be there, but it's faster.
He's had problems with his balance on the reds and got all over the place. So again, that'll be a decision that they're going to have to weigh. He says it makes it go loose.
Track's changing. I mean, it's true though.
As the track rubbers in, the reds are more effective. So yes, that's a good point.
Now Tracy has to worry about the guy in his rearview mirror, namely Ryan Hunter-Reay.
He passed right off that restart. Then he had a car in between him that gave a little cushion. Now Ryan Hunter-Reay's got him in his sights.
And Takuma Sato, running 10th, is in for a pit stop.
Now, the reason you make a pit stop now is if there is a caution between now and when the leaders do, you effectively get a free pass to the front. So this would be his last stop. The window is open. This is kind of a gamble. You do this if you're looking for a little bit of good fortune. Again, if a caution happens now, between now and when the leaders pit, you go right up to the front.
But it's not an issue for him at this lap 63. He can get all the way to the end.
Yeah.
So pretty good call, I think. And he is on the red Firestone red sidewalls, a little softer tire. Has a little more grip to it, should be a little faster tire. But with that trade-off is sometimes the life of it isn't as strong. It just kind of drops off a little bit, and that's the way they're designed.
Sato's best finish this year at Watkins Glen, started 5th, finished 15th. Meanwhile, back up front, Power with about a 1.5 second advantage over Helio Castroneves. This is not a statistic that Will Power wants to hear, but in the previous 5 races here at Edmonton, the leader at halfway has gone on to win the race only 1 time. However, that 1 time was last year, and the leader at the halfway point and the race winner was Will Power. Jack?
Guys, you look at the pit strategy, it makes sense what Sato did because he was running towards the back of the pack. My projections are that you're going to see the leaders come in between lap 73 and 74. That means that they don't have to take a full load of fuel to go the full distance. You have to take about 3/4 of a load. So you got to time it. And guys, remember, 3 gallons a second. So now you're going to have to get your fueling done almost at about the same time you change your tires. If you hit the sweet spot, you might be able to go to victory lane. Be fun to watch, won't it?
It will, Jack. And that's what when you're deciding on when you pit, you always factor in all those factors of fuel and tires.
30 laps to go here at City Center Raceway in Edmonton, Alberta, in the IZOD IndyCar Series.
IndyCar racing from Edmonton on Versus is brought to you by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceourenergy.com. And by Peak Performance Products. When you peak, you win.
Select IZOD IndyCar driver. Driver selected Tony Kanaan. Select race transport. Mission finish first. The fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
Feel the excitement? That's peak performance. And it's electric.
Look out. Be sure everybody's safe with the new Peak backup camera system. With the Peak Jump Starter, you don't need another car to jump your dead battery, so there's no waiting. And the fun never stops with the Peak Power Inverter. It instantly converts your car's battery power to household power. Great as a mobile office or for tailgating.
Inside, outside, all around your car. When you peak, you win.
There's a reason why. In 4 years of powering every car in the Indianapolis 500 race, not a single Honda engine has failed. It's not the parts we make them from. It's the part we put in to every Honda.
Welcome back to the IZOD IndyCar Series race at Edmonton, Alberta. There's the leader, Will Power, about 1.3 seconds over Elio Castroneves. And you saw during nonstop Hideki Muto spin. However, he was able to get the car going again, and so we stay green. He is currently running in 18th position a lap down. We've only got 10 cars on the lead lap. Tony Kanaan, who started way in the back, is running in 11th position, but he is 1 lap down. Ryan Hunter-Reay was in 8th position, but he's in for his final pit stop.
And Jack has talked about the fuel timing and the tires, and they still have to wait a little bit for fuel. So the pit stops that are made later, just like Jack was talking about, then it'll be more simultaneous. The fact that the fuel will finish about the same time as the tires. The pit stops will get shorter and shorter the less distance to the end of the race.
And the numbers will look at that. That was about 7.6 seconds there. When you get shorter and shorter, you're going to be looking at about 5-second stops in the box, Jack.
But Jan, and Robbie, you got to like that call by the IZOD team, because they weren't fast enough to run with the Penske or the Ganassi cars, and I had projected the fact that maybe they should be the first to pit, because we count backwards, they'll be right there, and they might get themselves in a position where they could at least gain a few spots.
I absolutely agree with you, 100%, no question.
Now, it's worth mentioning that Ryan Hunter-Reay has not got himself up far enough to keep Will Power from clinching the championship if they were to finish now. So he's going to have to make a lot more headway to prevent Will Power from clinching.
So this answers our question. You notice those sidewalls that were laid out there for Paul Tracy? Those would be the reds.
Yes. And Robbie, you brought a very good point that the reds are even more effective once the track gets rubbered in, so you'll live with a little imbalance.
And Andy's only going to come in and probably have only about 25 more laps of running, not a full stint. The reds that fall off a little bit towards the end, but that's okay.
See if Tracy enters the pits right here.
Now, typically, when you go from blacks to reds, there's a fairly big difference in the handling, as we've talked about, so look for a front wing change, too.
And he just was doing a
one on that, Jan, guys. They were talking just like you were. They are going to have more understeer with those reds because more grip. That back end wants to push the front. I said, you're going to go down on front wing? He said, no, not wing. We made a tire pressure adjustment. These reds are faster. They made more of an adjustment from earlier when he had the reds, so he should be faster.
See the white lines on those, meaning they're a sticker set, which is about the most grip you're going to get on a day like today.
And he was running about a 103.3 lap, the couple laps prior to that. So we'll just kind of keep an eye on that once he gets these up to speed, where he settles in.
But the leaders have really picked it up.
He hammers that curve, even right out of the pit road.
I don't need no sticking tire pressure. I can go right over that.
It's the shortest distance, a straight line right across there.
I'm starting to say the leaders have picked it up now. They've definitely increased their pace. Now they're getting just a bit over a minute, 2 seconds, 102.1 for Power.
KV Racing Technology is having a very good day. Marias is 6th.
Here comes Briscoe.
Yep. Tracy is 8th. Sato 10th. Now let's watch Ryan Briscoe. Lindy.
And here is Ryan, and they are taking off the black tires and putting on the red, and I am told he doesn't want any changes made to that car. He feels good. And he's out, guys.
7.4 second pit stop for Briscoe. He rejoins the race.
He's definitely going to have some traffic around him that he's going to have to contend with. But they're going to be coming in too. So hopefully he's got a window that can keep him challenging for that, fourth spot.
When you're the leader, Bob, you want to wait. When you're not leading, you come earlier and you gamble. But you don't want to. Dario Franchitti had that happen to him in Toronto where he was leading, pitted a little bit early, and both Justin Wilson and one other car took advantage of that. But for Will Power, he's got enough of an advantage. He kind of can pit whenever he wants at the moment.
And right now, as he's burning off fuel, he can hopefully keep going faster and faster, giving himself more cushion to his competition being Elio. And that last lap, he ran 4/10 quicker than Elio.
Will Power has a tie to Canada. His paternal grandmother was born in Brandon, Manitoba. And Thomas Schechter is in for a pit stop. Schechter running in 20th position.
He's down 3 laps, and we saw earlier that he had to come in and change that nose, and that's where he lost those laps.
Anyway, Power's grandmother met Doug Power while he was stationed in Edmonton training for the Edmonton Air Force. They were married in Montreal in 1944. Getting by E.J. Biso. He now is a lap down in 10th position. It's a season that you dream about, isn't it, Robbie? Here's Marias in.
Marias is in.
Robbie?
And Mario Marias actually had a broken shock in qualifying. He might have done even better. They didn't find it until after it was over. They're going to sticker red. He was looking for more overall trim. In fact, he's going to get it with those new reds.
And Weldon also is in. He's 21st.
To cap off what you said about Will Power, his speed is phenomenal.
Yep.
Absolutely. And his engineer, Dave Faustino, says he has ability to flick a switch and lay down a lap in qualifying like he's never seen. He just has that unique ability. Obviously, he's pretty good in the race, too.
Yeah.
This goes to show when you go out of the pits on new tires, before they get up to pressure and temperature, it is really slippery sledding for the first couple of corners. You have to really be on top of your game.
I was going to say, just watching Will Power's car there, and as you go across some of the undulation bumps on the runway of how smooth that car is. TK in for service, sticker reds.
TK has had quite a drive this afternoon from that 24 starting position. He's running near the top 10 as Vitor Mira goes off course, local yellow only.
Now when Kanan left and we looked off the back, you could see the leaders' pits. They were starting to set up. And here he comes.
Here he comes. And Jackie's headed toward you.
As is all the leaders, in fact, behind the Power is Elio Castroneves, and then the 2 Target Ship Ganassi cars. The first one hit their marks, William Power. They will go to work taking out fuel. Let's see if they take a full one. Let's go to Lindy.
Elio Castroneves gets red tires. No changes to the car, but a couple changes to his team, Jack. Rick Reineman is back. He's been with the team for 28 years. He's been in the shop all this year. Sean Hanrahan, who's been in his spot, he had hernia surgery. He's out. Rick's in. And then his outside rear, Eric Prentice. You saw Franchitti there. Eric Prentice, the outside rear, 13 years with Elio. This is his last race. He is going home to Pennsylvania. He says he wants to watch his kids grow up. And Bob, he says this race is bittersweet.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And Lindy, we did see a difference in strategy that Will Power has gone with the blacks. His teammate, as you called it, Helio Castroneves, has gone with the reds. So they are setting up to finish this with a different strategy.
And I was watching the time clock on Power's car. You know, we said we thought he was going to be in the high 5 seconds. He had a 7.6 pit stop, but it ain't going to matter.
He can take his time.
He can do whatever he wants.
And he can drive on blacks.
Yep. So everybody up front has pitted, and Will Power hangs on to the lead with a 2.8-second advantage on Helio Castroneves at Edmonton.
Three-time Indy 500 winner, Helio Castroneves. Danica Patrick into the lead, making history. Fans on their feet for the side-by-side action. Dario Franchitti, your series champion.
The Eyes Out IndyCar Series. Get tickets now. Call 866-INDYCAR or visit IndyCar.com.
This Brickyard runs on sugar.
Sweet sugarcane ethanol.
It's an advanced biofuel recognized by the EPA
because it cuts greenhouse emissions by 60% compared to gasoline.
And can save you money at the pump. Fast and sweet and clean and lovely, the fuel from sugar cane goes racing. I can dance. Nah, I cannot sing. But one thing we can agree, we race on ethanol.
We stock an amazing amount of tires, nearly 1 million tires. But we don't just stock them, we test them. And we post user reviews so you can find which tires are the best for you and your car. All this at a price that won't slow you down. And that's 1 in a million, or in most cases, 4 in a million. The biggest selection of tires. One More Way Tire Rack is revolutionizing the way you buy tires. TireRack.com. Research, buy, deliver, install.
Welcome to Camp Versus, the only place you want to be this summer. Weeknights at 11 Eastern, it's the Daily Line, your one-stop shop for the day's top headlines. Brought to you by our team of experts.
Sorry, look at this. It's a move for the lead. Castroneves goes to the inside on the reds, and he gets power.
How about that?
So you're thinking the Reds may be a good thing right now?
Oh, yeah. Now, that was partially because Will Power lost some momentum because of traffic, and Helio Castroneves pounced. That was nice.
Hey, Jan.
Sorry to jump on you there, but that was cool.
Watch the Daily Line.
Guys, remember at the top of the show we talked about the push to pass, the overtake button? Well, that was the case. As you watch this replay of the run, Will Power failed to use the overtake button because he had used it earlier. That means the reset precluded him from being able to use it as a defensive weapon.
Wow, how about that?
Jan, are you going to Camp Versus this year?
I'm in Camp Versus right now. This is Camp Versus. We're calling Camp Versus right now, Robbie.
Look at him pull away, guys.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the strategy. Prior to the pit stop, we were talking during the break about Castroneves had a lot of muscle, and then when they went on alternate strategies, and Robbie, you said earlier you thought the red tires were the way to go when the track rubber's in, and you were absolutely right.
Well, and the other guy that we were going to use as a gauge with that, because what prompted that discussion was Tracy. And I've been watching Tracy's time, and I really haven't seen his speeds increase, but he's been in traffic, so I really haven't been able to weigh that out. Now that I've said that, oh no, it's still only a 104.5, so he's still slower on the reds than he was the blacks, but we'll keep an eye on him.
Paul Tracy running 6th.
Pretty good job for a guy that has only done a couple road courses this year. Huh?
You'll have to be happy with this. Yeah.
Well, his last 2 years, he's been a 4th and 6th place finish. So with not running this series on a regular basis at this type of level, pretty impressive.
And now check this out. Power could be in trouble from Dixon because Dixon has also gone with the Reds, and look at him close in on Will Power. And they've got to be thinking in Power's pit.
Oh, man, I knew we should have gone to the Reds. Yeah, but that lap that he just turned was only was 1/10 slower than what Elio's doing right now.
But just visually, though.
Yeah, no,
visually, Dixon is getting after him.
Yeah, that doesn't lie there, does it?
Hey, fellas, I just asked Clive Howell, and he confirms just what you guys have been supposing. The difference? Reds versus blacks. He said, yep, real tersely.
Yep, like, I got a set sitting here in the pits. I wish they were on my car.
Look at Dixon close in.
And when we talk about what Firestone has done with the Reds and the Blacks, this racetrack is probably the track where we've seen the biggest gap in their performance. So keep that in mind of what we're watching here. This has been the biggest performance gap between both of them, the alternate and the primary.
And that decision could have come just from a lot of confidence, because we were just saying that Power had a walk in the park.
Yep.
And so when sometimes you're conservatives, we could do it on blacks. That way we know they're not going to wear out the Reds. And boy, but in this case, Firestone has done their homework, and it's really helped the racing.
Well, we get down to the last few laps. Can Elio Castroneves hold off Will Power for the victory here at Edmonton? We have quite a race here in Edmonton. Will Power led until a few minutes ago, and Elio Castroneves got around him, and now Will Power is second. He's being challenged by and really hounded by Scott Dixon, who's running third and not too far behind. There's Dario Franchitti in fourth.
And Jan and I were just talking about, Bob, there may be a scenario here where Elio on those Firestone Reds, they may give up a little bit something as we get into the last 10 laps of this. And Power on the blacks, the primaries, they may keep getting better and better for him relative to Elio, and just kind of bring everything together with about, what do you say, 2 laps to go?
Castroneves is trying to put as much racetrack between himself and Power. But we have quite a few laps to go, Jack, and it's wide open here.
But for Elio Castroneves, he told me this morning, and you guys have talked about it as well, that Will Power's addition to the team has made Elio, and I quote, a much better driver. I asked him to explain. He said, I look at his overlays. I look at the way he drives the car. He said, I'm willing to try it, as is Ryan. But he said, but Jack, don't forget, we all have egos in play. He says, but the beauty of the team is the fact that we check our egos at the door. And I was amazed, guys. He brought up the fact, he says, it's kind of like a football team. You can have a great quarterback, but if you don't have a good running back and some wide receivers, well, what good is it? He said, our team is like a football team. We've got chemistry across the board and in the locker room. I was amazed that Elio grabbed a football analogy.
Well, now Dixon is beginning to fall back a bit and making a race with Dario Franchitti.
Ebbs and flows, Bob. Ebbs and flows.
Well, Jack, you said the word chemistry, and there's nothing more important when you're fighting for thousandths of a second of having the chemistry between the driver, the engineer, driver, crew chief. But then if you can match that up with your team drivers and their engineers, and they all work that way, which the Penske group does, it's going to pay off.
I read an interesting article about Roger Penske and his driver choice. How does he make those choices? And near the top of the list is obviously speed, but one of the other items very high on the list is team player. They want all these drivers to work together as a cohesive team, and he has 3 that do right now.
Well, you got to think, if you knew that Roger Penske and that organization was interested in you, you'd become a team player pretty darn quick. If that was the requirement.
I haven't actually been a team player, but I could be one.
Elio passes Hideki Muto, puts a car between himself and Will.
Will needs to get him, and he's setting him up as he comes off of 14.
Yep. And to turn 1. Now here comes Scott Dixon.
Dixon's like, come on, I'm coming through. Give me some space. And that it's a tough place.
Yeah, not a good place to catch a driver
because as you get through 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here, you really can't make a good clean move until you come off of turn 9 and get to 10. Which is off of 9 right here.
Well, we'll take another break and be right back. Elio Castroneves leads in Edmonton.
IndyCar racing from Edmonton on Versus is brought to you by Izod, the official apparel sponsor of the Izod IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. And by Apex Brazil. To learn more about our Brazilian goods and services, log on to experienceourenergy.com. And by Mazda, Zoom Zoom forever.
Select Izod IndyCar driver. Driver selected, Dan Weldon. Select race transporter. Mission finish first. Fastest drivers in the world. See who wins at racetotheparty.com.
It started with 2 simple words, and now it's time to join in. Announcing the Claim Your Mazda Summer Sales Event. Enjoy the high resale value of Mazda 3, Mazda 6, the driver's alternative to Camry and Accord, or the 7-passenger Mazda CX-9. All available with 0% APR financing for 60 months, plus no monthly payments until October 2010. So why compromise? Hurry in and claim your Mazda today.
Pack up. We're heading to Camp Versus. Now, the rules of the place are simple. When 2 campers don't see eye to eye, it's time to settle the score fair and square. But with the bantamweight belt on the line, don't expect any punches to be pulled, because we're about to practice some conflict resolution. Cruz versus Benavides, live August 18th at 9, only on Versus. We're heading to Camp Versus. It's time to strap in, throttle up, and hit the asphalt for some high-speed thrills. The Izod IndyCar Series. This summer, only on Versus.
Back to Edmonton, Alberta in the Izod IndyCar Series. We're in the closing stages of this race here that's being led by Elio Castroneves, Team Penske. Will Power second, then Dixon, Franchitti, and Ryan Briscoe. Paul Tracy is the best in class, not including the Team Penske and Target Chip Ganassi drivers. Ryan Hunter-Reay is 7th, then Sato, Marias, and E.J. Viso running in 10th position. 7 laps to go for Elio.
And that 8th, 9th, 10th position of Sato, Marias, and Viso, all KV teammates along with Tracy. So pretty stout running for those guys. A good
all 4 cars in the top 10. Yeah.
So there's the gap as we just saw Elio back to his...
Oh, and Simona's slowing. She was running an 11th spot despite the fact that she caused one of the cautions. She had a very good first half of the race, but things have gone sour here in the second half. Still a good run for Simona.
And that overhead shot really gives you an idea.
We're going
full course.
Yep, going full course. Caution, guys. This is going to be interesting.
Ooh. So that overhead view of that gap between Elio and Will, forget about it. Forget about it.
Yep.
Forget about it.
So Simona Di Silvestro is stalled on course, and so we will have another full course caution. Tim Cindric, first and second for Team Penske, and Mike Hall, well, he's looking at his Target Chip Ganassi guys running 3rd and 4th.
And Cindric was pretty chatty there with his guy Elio. Did you notice there? He was just kind of chatting right away with him.
This is going to get interesting here in the last few laps. We'll take a break and be right back for
it. IndyCar Nation, why aren't you a member yet?
Follow me behind the scenes.
Free timing and scoring. Free live video streaming. New and improved member benefits. The best IZOD IndyCar Series content anywhere.
Visit IndyCar.com. Enjoy IndyCar Nation today.
Story about a man with a car and a job, a wife and a kid. His name is Bob. Just a regular guy with a regular car, but it's what he rolls on that makes him a star. His Firestone tires are known far and wide. The way they perform gives a sense of pride. That's Bob's story. He ain't no liar, because everybody knows the legends ride Firestone. Legendary drivers need legendary tires.
I've always wanted to do this, sir. Buckle up. Mario, there's a big left turn coming up. Mario, I have to go to the bathroom.
We have a left turn coming up.
I got it.
Crosswalk.
I see it.
I'm hungry.
Honda performance lives in our race cars and in the Accord and Civic Coupes. Go to shophonda.com and enter for a chance to start an IndyCar race in this car with Mario Andretti.
In the octagon, there are 8 sides to every story. Muay Thai elbows.
Big elbows from Johnny Bones Jones.
Against heavy hands.
Shango pushing forward.
Reborn strikers.
Oh, how he tagged him.
Against world-class grappling.
Beautiful takedown.
Prepare to choose sides. Jones versus Matyushenko. Munoz versus Okami. The UFC on Versus. Live next Sunday.
Next time around, we'll get the green flag and resume racing. But now the question comes, how many overtake assists these guys have?
You see the numbers scrolling across the top. That is how many are left.
Castroneves with 8, Dixon with 12. Lindy.
Hey, Tim Cindric, first of all, with Will behind you, does that scare you or make you feel a little more comfortable?
Well, anytime you got guys running 1, 2, or 3 to go, that's a good thing. But certainly it'll be interesting here with the red and black tire mix.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. This last stop, the tires really affected this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting here. It's going to be interesting.
Strategy on it?
Sorry?
Strategy on it?
Just go.
Just go, Robbie.
Clive Howell, tell me about the car and Will Power. He's the only one on the blacks up front. How bad is it hurting him, or is it?
Well, obviously, Elio got biased on the restart because the Reds came up to speed quicker, but, it's a shame it went yellow here. We were reeling him in, so anyway, let's see what happens.
Thanks, Clive. Guys, I think the thing you want to watch is when Justin Wilson did a restart in Toronto on Reds, he got all kind of pickup. Watch them weave from side to side. It's going to be really important for Castroneves to keep his tires clean because the Reds, because they're softer, pick up more. So watch him just aggressively weave side to side. If it's not clean, he'll get passed by Will Power.
And that's that same scenario. Wilson was on the Reds.
Right.
And the wing guy that was behind him is that guy right there. So
Power on the blacks. So here we go.
Heading down into turn 11 and now over to 12. We'll see who uses overtake assist on the restart here. Here they come.
Oh, he's slowing right down.
If it goes green up in the upper right, it will Beanie's on it. Off of corner 14. Here we go. 3 laps to go.
Power is on the overtake. Looking to the outside, just like he did to Wilson.
Can't do it. In fact, he loses second to Dixon.
Dixon, Franchitti looks now.
Dixon just forces his way through.
Power back to third.
He was trying to carry that momentum on the outside going into 1.
And he had to give his teammate room. He had to get a little bit wide to be sure he didn't take out Castroneves. He left the door open, and Scott Dixon pounced.
But what a great, you got to go for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
You're here to win.
Power got on the overtake assist early, trying to get the jump, but here's what happened as they went into one. He's to the outside.
And he's ahead of him right there, but he doesn't have the inside. Look at him slide.
He starts to slide, and he can't pinch Castroneves anymore. And then, of course, Dixon just aggressively says, I'm coming through.
Well, he saw Power up there just sliding around on the top side.
Castroneves with a drive-through for blocking?
What? We got to see where that is, guys.
Well, that has to be turn 1. But I mean, when you're the leader, you can pick your lane. And here's Briscoe. Look at him putting the move on Tracy,
and vice versa. How that was?
They're going to.
Wow.
Scott Dixon is the leader of this race. They are going to penalize Elio for blocking. Jack.
Fellas, at the drivers' meeting, what Brian Barnhart explained to all the drivers, entering a corner, you have to declare one lane or the other, the outside lane or the inside lane. That's what Elio Castroneves did. But then he changed lanes. That's why he's being given that penalty. That's the only way Brian says he's able to determine if someone is trying to overtly block. Leader be damned. Remember it happened to Elio at Detroit a couple of years ago with Justin Wilson?
Well, Jack, at a restart, he picked the right, and he stayed right. As far as I'm concerned, he stayed right.
Maybe we don't know what those defined lanes are when we're talking the big footprint of tarmac there being a runway. I don't know.
We're on the last lap, and Scott Dixon is the leader.
If I'm Castroneves, I stay out, and I argue after.
Yeah.
They will stop scoring you after... I think it's 2 laps, so maybe he can get to the checkered before they stop scoring him, and then he can...
Yeah, well, whatever. Right now, he's going to be coming to the checkered flag anyhow.
I mean, he still is leading because he hasn't served his penalty. I mean, they may take it away with another penalty, but he still is the leader physically on the track until they stop scoring him. They wanted to take it away with a drive-through, but he hasn't given it yet.
And he's coming to the checkered flag right now.
Here comes the checkered flag.
And he's going to take the checkered flag on the racetrack.
Elliott will take it first, but did Scott Dixon win the race? Oh, man, what an afternoon of racing.
Kind of wondering where we go with all this right now, huh?
Another win, I guess, for Chip Ganassi. He won earlier today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 400, and apparently wins with Scott Dixon here in Edmonton. Robbie Floyd.
I'm here with Tim Cindric. Tim, what was the call for you? Stay out and, fight it later?
They said to drive through. I'm not driving the car. So, why we end up with that inconsistency all day long, I have no idea. Whether that's good for the series, I guess only Randy can decide whether that's the right thing for the series or not. So, I hope they enjoy it.
Elio's driving the car, but tell me what you saw. He's in the lead. He does what he wants to do.
He's driving the car. From my end, the officials tell me he needs to drive through. I tell him he needs to drive through. He's driving the car as far as whether he does or not.
You think he did everything he should have going into that first turn?
I'd have to see the replay. You guys have seen it more times than I have. But to take a race away from somebody like this, I'm not real sure how this works.
Thanks a lot, Tim. You can tell right now he's just waiting to see what the aftermath is. He's disappointed, but he may have a positive outcome later down the road.
Well, we're taking a look at the replay, and that's a close call.
It is. You can see that there's a lane there, and then he comes back to the left a little bit. But I don't know if it changed anything, guys.
Yeah. Well, in any case, it is Dixon's 24th career open wheel win.
But take a look as they come down, and the overhead shot that we saw before is perfect. And if you can stop it right here briefly, there is a lane defined somewhere here that you're supposed to leave open. That's okay where he is now. Now go ahead and roll it. Let the cars roll sort of across the line. And you'll see that he maintains the line, and then he's moving out to the middle here because he has to turn into the corner. I don't think he's blocking. I don't think he's changing his line in response.
And that's what I'm saying.
Don't often see Elio emotional like this and angry. That was Kevin Blanche that he was having words with.
The reason he is upset is because he did not chop his teammate. He chose a line. Once Will Power swung out, he swung out a little more so he could turn into the corner. Now, if Brian Barnard has defined a line you don't cross, that's got to be his call.
Yeah, you're right, but I don't think it wouldn't have affected that outcome either way. It wasn't that. And like I say, for Elio to be that upset about it, he doesn't think he did that at all. He wasn't intentionally doing anything to have that kind of mannerism right now.
Right. Charles Burns, one of the security people that worked for the IZOD IndyCar Series.
Don't take on the security, guys.
No. Charles is a former state trooper here in Indiana.
He was very relaxed.
Well, I don't know.
He's got to pull his head together, but he has reason to be upset.
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
He didn't do anything that was out of bounds in my view.
Yeah, and he obviously doesn't think he did anything again, to be that way. That's Owen Snyder there, helping out with Cindric and Charles talking with Elio.
Well, he's cooling down a little bit here. Meanwhile, Scott Dixon sits in victory lane
with a Firestone hat in first place.
And we go down to our IZOD victory lane. Here's Jack Arute.
Well, Scott Dixon, you saved the best for last. Tell me about that restart.
Well, it was all on, and specifically between the two Penske's, I definitely didn't think they were going to treat each other that way. And, offline here is so bad. And, Brian always says if you're blocking going into any of the corners, if you're on the right side, especially going into turn one, then you're going to get penalized. And we get told every week, so you could definitely see something was going to happen there. But they got a lot of marbles on their tires. We got a great run with the target car. Just kept it in a typical line. And, it was a tough day. We're extremely loose and fighting it non-stop. But I can't believe we won. It's fantastic.
Watching you guys go from the overhead down into that corner, you could see that you took the bait, saw everything that was going. Was there any doubt in your mind that you could make the target car grip on the inside?
I didn't want to get in there. Offline here was so bad. There's so many marbles and everything, and even under the yellows, you'd pick up so much debris on the tires. So it made the first few laps so exciting, for sure. But for them getting way in the dirt right there, and then obviously trying to protect this line, you knew it was going to be pretty slippery. So I was hoping to get both of them coming out of there, but just didn't quite have it.
Let's face it, this was a situation where there was a lot of pressure on you this weekend to stay in the championship chase. You delivered, and now Target Chip Ganassi's hit for the weekend cycle with the Brickyard and here.
It was fantastic. It's great for Team Target and obviously for Chip, winning both, the Cup today and obviously IndyCar. But, we finally got the monkey off our back. We've had such dreadful races on the road courses. We've had the quickness in the car, but just, crashes or taken out and things like that. So just so happy and relieved for the team.
I want to let you in on a secret. It wasn't a monkey. It was a 12,000-pound gorilla. Congratulations, Dixon.
I think you're very right there, man. Thank you. Thanks.
Bob?
And Scott Dixon's team, they win the Pit Performers of the Year, the Firestone Pit Performers of the Day, with a total time on pit lane of 58 seconds and 69 100ths. Well, Dixon, Power, Franchitti, Briscoe, and Hunter Ray are your top five in Edmonton. In a controversial finish, Dixon wins.
I love it.
Not much of a celebration in victory lane. Scott Dixon has won this race in a very controversial finish. Elio has been accused of blocking, and Robbie is with him.
And boy, he's been angry, trying to cool down. I can imagine what had to be running through your head. Can you put it into words?
Man, I said it once in Detroit in 2008, and I'll say it again. I have nothing smart to say. the only thing I can say, talk to my attorneys.
Hey, let's take a look at what happened, or he might not even want to take a look. Do you want to see the race itself? I know you haven't seen it except for first person. Do you want to see what it looked like, what they're making that call on?
Sorry, man. I 2 laps to go. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I never moved my line. I actually gave room him outside. And when you go side by side like that with your teammate, and the guys just swept, literally just take it away from you. It's just absurd. I mean, but anyway.
What did you mean by talk to your attorneys? I thought we were through with that at Long Beach last year.
I'm being sarcastic.
All right, buddy. You can tell Helio Castroneves, he can't even put it into words. He's still disgusted, hasn't talked to the officials, and he was in the air with a couple of officials, but you know they aren't the ones that made the decision. Brian Barnhart is.
Will Power, Helio Castroneves clearly upset about what happened there at the end, but I want to ask you, what's your take on that last restart?
I understand Helio's position. You know, he's leading the race. There's a late restart. You know, I got a run on him and he blocked me. I think I would say a black flag's a pretty harsh penalty, to be honest, but you know, maybe if he was put back in position, but you know, it's what it is right now.
Yeah, you're seeing the replay right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he blocks, so I mean, it was just one of those racing things, you know. I mean, if you're leading on the last restart, you want to keep the lead.
And let's go back to the pit stop before that. Obviously, the tires made a huge difference in the race for you versus Helio putting on the reds.
Yeah, I mean, my blacks were very good at the end. I mean, I lost the lead because Thomas Scheckter came in the pits and I got sort of held up there. I wasn't sure what he was going to do, and you know, Helio got a run and that was a fair move. He passed me. So yeah, it's not the best day for the team, but you know, we still moved up in the points some, and yeah, good for them.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think overall of your day? Because you came in as everybody watching you.
Yeah, it was a good day. Good race, good hard race. Really happy to get the Verizon car on the podium again.
Thank you, Will Power.
Thank you.
Tough day for the Penske team, guys.
Well, he says Helio blocked, and I guess he would be the one that knows more than anybody.
He had the best seat.
Yeah, even though it was his teammate. We'll be right back in a moment. The race has been run here at Edmonton, Alberta, and Scott Dixon is the winner over Will Power, Dario Franchitti, Ryan Briscoe, and Ryan Hunter-Reay, with Helio Castroneves penalized for blocking. Here are the point standings after the 11th race of the season. Dario Franchitti 50 behind Will Power, Scott Dixon 71 behind, Ryan Briscoe less than 100 from the lead, and then 5 through 10 are Ryan Hunter-Reay, Castroneves, Kanaan, Wilson, Andretti, and Dan Weldon. We talked before this race start about how Will could clinch the road course championship. He did not. He has that much of an advantage over Dario Franchitti heading to Mid-Ohio in 2 weeks. And then, of course, there is the final road course race of the year at Infineon in Sonoma, California. So that battle will continue. I'm just a little, there is Helio talking with, more than talking, is Kevin Blanche, of the technical department of the IndyCar Series. And he was quite angry at that point, but cooled off enough to talk to him. But I was really shocked to hear Will Power say that he did indeed block him. Down to Jack.
Fellas, we chased down Brian Barnhart, and he is in the trailer right here. We made a request to interview him, telling him we're up against the time clock, and here's what his representative told us. He is reviewing the results and is not available right now for an interview. Stay tuned to Versus.com. We're going to stay here till we get one, and we'll post it on the web, okay?
So Helio might be the winner. How about that?
Wow.
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, that would be.
Stay tuned.
Unprecedented. Yeah.
Right. Versus.com.
Oh, boy. Well, What a day it was. Coming up next, the Tour de France. Join us in 2 weeks, Sunday, August 8th, 2:30 for the Indy 200 at Mid-Ohio. IZOD, the official apparel sponsor of the IZOD IndyCar Series, available at Macy's. For more information on the IZOD IndyCar Series, log on to Versus.com. For Lindy Thaxton, Robbie Floyd, Jack Arute, Robbie Buell, and Jan Beekes, I'm Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us on Versus here at Edmonton.